Stand up, all victims of oppression, for the tyrants fear your might. Don't cling so hard to your possessions, for you have nothing if you have no rights. So come, brothers and sisters, for the struggle carries on. Listening to Mike from PA unites the world in song. So come come and rally, for this is the time and place. Join the Central Committee and unite the human race. Break down the billionaire system. Bring down the bourgeoisie. To see the end of capitalism, we must set Luigi free. Demand that health care be provided, as well as housing and food security. We'll build high-speed rails and revolutions with heads of billionaires and solidarity. So come, brothers and sisters, through this struggle we'll carry on. A gift of the Central Committee is one step closer to righting the wrongs. So comrades, come and rally, and remember that Hutch owes Mike $1,500 because Mike was fucking right. Mike was fucking right. Mike was fucking right.
Alrighty, folks. Wow, hold on one second. Woo. How is everybody doing this Sunday morning? A surprise weekend stream number 2. Surprise weekend stream number 2. What's this? Oh, yeah.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Good morning, Sunday morning. It's been a minute. Welcome on in to the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA. We are live once again. I mean, I had to do it. I mean, no one else is going to stream today, so it might as well be me. The new Gila the Soft Take video just dropped. Fuck.
Hey guys, it's the Soft Take. Or newly
1 hour. If we're going to watch anything for half an hour on this stream, it's going to be China. So a couple things that I want to talk about today, chat. We have China at the Hague, at the International Court of Justice, just delivered this speech, which I thought might be valuable to take a look at. There was the Australian election, chat, which was an unbelievable landslide for Labor. Maybe is it the best that Labor has ever done? Has there, and so a mega landslide in Australia. And I think it's pretty safe to say that except in the UK, Donald Trump has made conservative parties in the Anglosphere completely crash. Like, the conservative parties in Canada and in Australia have basically fell off a cliff when Donald Trump got sworn in. Now, I wonder if they're actually going to do anything with it. Friendly Jordy's made a fun video on it. Yeah, so I want to cover... So I want to do a lot more politics on the politics stream. We're going to keep laughing, of course, at H3 and the meltdowns. And the fact that, if I'm being quite honest, I don't think there's really any... The only people that are really going strong for Ethan is Destiny and his orbiters. Like, even like kind of generally anti-Hassan people are kind of like, they don't really want to align with Ethan Klein. So we're going to talk about that. And of course, I've got a really cool new Not Just Bikes video on my favorite form of public transportation. And I agree with it. My favorite form of public transportation is the tram. It's not always the right form of, like, sometimes you need to have like trains, like, well, you know, or below grade metro. I get that, you know, I get that. But my favorite form of public transportation is the tram. They have a video on that, so that's pretty exciting. How was my birthday? Super duper, very chill. So let's keep going. All right, let's start off with the Chinese speech.
For over half a century, Palestinians in the occupied territory has endured persistent suffering, with many communities dependent on humanitarian assistance for basic survival. Following the October 2023, the escalation of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, even this basic lifeline has been severely threatened. With each new restriction and every law Israel enacts to block assistance, the situation grows more desperate in Gaza and throughout the occupied territories. We are witnessing an unprecedented humanitarian crisis threatening to overwhelm an already suffering people. The suffering of Palestinian people touches the very heart of China. For 12 straight years, President Xi Jinping has sent messages to the UN Special Commemorative Meeting in observance of the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, expressing China's unwavering support for Palestine's just cause. China continues to provide humanitarian assistance to the Palestinian people, while also participating in broad international efforts to alleviate the humanitarian crisis and support post-conflict reconstruction in Gaza. President Xi puts it simply and powerfully. I quote, "The humanitarian cause is humanity's shared mission," end of quote. This principle guides China's position that the United Nations, as the cornerstone of multilateralism, should play both a central and unique role in leading and coordinating humanitarian assistance. As the stakeholders in this humanitarian mission, all states should work together to provide humanitarian assistance to the Palestinian people. Ultimately, the fundamental solution to the Palestinian question lies in the implementation of the two-state solution. This addresses the core of this conflict: Palestinian people's fundamental right to self-determination. At the same time, Israel's legitimate security concerns should be respected.
Now, in this specific thing, this has been a Chinese position for a while now in the post-Camp David world, where a lot of Palestinian factions became two-state factions, like two-state supporters. And so this has kind of been the generic position of China for a long time, because they're also always interpreting precedents through their own lens. And so they're not generally in favor to regime change operations. That being said, you know, like, here's how I feel about it. Israel as a project in and of itself is a racist apartheid ethno-state. There's really no way to have a two-state solution that's just under international law. Unless you're okay with a racial apartheid state existing, and I don't. And I don't really think the Palestinian state can even be formed at this point because of the settlements and the way that it's been pockmarked with Israeli control. I don't see how it could be anything but a Bantustan. That's the problem with the two-state solution, is that it's just not coherent at this point because Palestine has been so colonized and so ripped apart. It has to be a one state from the river to the sea with full equality.
China champions the parties to move forward each other and stands ready to work with the international community toward early realization of this vital goal. Two states living side by side in peace, their peoples sharing the benefits of friendly coexistence. China submitted its written statement to the court in February 2025. Today, I will present China's view in three parts. First, the advisory jurisdiction of the court. Second, Israel's obligations as the occupying power to the UN, other international organizations, and third states, namely third parties. Finally, Israel's obligations as a member state of the UN. China submits that the court has jurisdiction over questions requested by the General Assembly, and there's no compelling reason for the court to decline to exercise its jurisdiction. China supports the court's exercise of its advisory jurisdiction in accordance with international law. China hopes that the court will focus on the specific legal questions requested by the General Assembly, building upon its advisory opinion of the July 2024 to provide legal guidance on relevant issues. The guidance will serve to promote lasting peace, stability, and development in the Middle East. Moreover, it will safeguard international peace and security by upholding the authority of international law and advancing international justice and fairness. Mr. President, I now turn to the obligations of Israel as occupying power in relation to the third parties. Since 1967, Israel has been the occupied power of Palestinian territory, including the Gaza Strip, while Israel withdrew its physical military presence from Gaza in 2005. This did not change the status as an occupying power, a position this court affirmed in its OPT advisory opinion. In armed conflict, particularly in the situation's occupation, Israel's obligations as occupied power, specifically in relation to the third party's presence and activities, derive from two fundamental sources of law: international humanitarian law and international human rights law. In terms of obligations of Israel as occupied power under international humanitarian law, four fundamental sources should be noted: the Hague Regulations, the Fourth Geneva Convention, the First Protocol, and customary international law. From these sources emerge five principal obligations, which I will examine in turn. First, Israel has the undisputed primary responsibility to ensure the basic needs of civilians in the occupied territory.
Basically, Israel not only has to provide these people with humanitarian aid, they can't just sit back and, even if they just open the ports, that's not enough. Israel is supposed to be providing them with the means of survival, food, water, shelter. So not only is Israel violating the law by blockading, which is clearly genocidal, they're also violating the law by not providing the resources as an occupying power.
The obligation explicitly required by Article 55, Paragraph 1 of the Fourth Geneva Convention and Article 69, Paragraph 1 of the First Protocol. These provisions require Israel to ensure to the fullest extent all supplies essential for civilian survival in the OPT. Second, Israel has obligation to agree to humanitarian assistance from third parties when the population in the OPT is inadequately supplied. This is not a discretionary choice. Refusing such assistance could constitute denial of humane treatment of civilians or a form of collective punishment, both prohibited under international law. Third, Israel has obligation to allow and facilitate humanitarian assistance from third parties in three specific ways. Israel shall ensure rapid...
No, I personally... Oh, by the way, chat. Personally, I think China is wrong to take their position, right? The reason why they're doing it is because, one, there are Palestinian factions like Fatah that argue for it. So, you know, they're the governing party of the West Bank. Is Israel going to tell them, you know, oh, you're wrong about your own domestic shit? Like, it's not likely to happen. Now, personally, I think they should. I think they should become more involved. But China is not involved in this conflict. It doesn't have any proxies. It's not, you know, supporting any specific factions. They are they're a neutral third party that looks at this and goes, okay, we don't have the final settlement. We're not dictating that final settlement, but here we are going to enforce against Israel all the international law that they're violating against the Palestinians. And here's the issue. I think that China should be more involved, quite frankly. I think that the main problem we have right now is that the United States is 100% involved to support a genocide, and every other world power that has sufficient, you know, resources to contest it is not. And so they can argue that what what United States and Israel are doing in Gaza is wrong, but until they're willing to actually confront those forces are going to continue.
And impeded passenger of the humanitarian...
It's not that they stopped supporting Palestine. The Chinese became a lot less involved in various revolutionary movements around the world. Not just basically everywhere. You know, they became much more, isolationist, much more interested in their own domestic development and tried to avoid conflict, as opposed to in the, Mao period of supporting, revolutionary movements all across the world. And frankly, I prefer that. But hey, what can I say?
Assistance enable humanitarian personnel to perform their tasks and facilitate the distribution of relief materials. Fourth, Israel has obligation of respecting and protecting humanitarian assistance personnel and materials provided by the third parties. This entails a negative obligation to refrain from causing harm to them and a positive obligation to take active measures to protect them. We are deeply concerned about casualties among humanitarian assistance personnel in the OPT. We call on all parties to comply fully with their obligations under international humanitarian law to ensure the safety of humanitarian assistance personnel. Fifth, Israel has obligation not to, for the purpose of civilian starvation, impede humanitarian assistance from the third parties by using siege or blockade. When siege or blockade are not prohibited per se as a method of warfare under international humanitarian law. These methods become unlawful when intended to starve the civilian population. Moreover, as confirmed by the court in its OPT advisory opinion, Israel, as an occupied power, has no sovereignty over or no right to exercise sovereign power in any part of the OPT.
He means occupied Palestinian
In
territory.
addressing the humanitarian crisis in Palestine, multiple Security Council and General Assembly resolutions confirm and reaffirm Israel's relevant obligations, providing valuable guidance for the present case. It must be emphasized, Mr. President, the principles and the rules of international humanitarian law cannot be derogated from unless explicitly provided for. In practice, the occupying power may impose appropriate restriction on the presence and activities
The
of
only solution. Okay, hold on. We've got our average Zionist. Okay, hold on. He says the only solution will be cessation of existence for the state of Palestine because Israel is backed by the U.S. This is a fact. Ban me if you want, but you cannot deny it. Deep down inside, we all know that this will be only a conflict, end of the conflict, and nothing else. No. Actually, what's more likely to happen is Israel continues to escalate this genocide, becoming an international pariah. And then eventually the Zionists and the Democratic Party, who have like literally no support, get voted out of office or get scared, and they would start to begin withdraw, and it becomes a partisan issue, and Israel becomes more and more unstable, and the Israeli colonists, feeling the U.S. support is wavering, begin to flee back to their home countries. That's the far more likely outcome. The colonizers who moved to Israel with dual citizenship, they're going to end up returning. You're going to have and then the Israeli economy is going to slowly start to collapse. And when American support is withdrawn, it's not going to be able to hold itself up because it cannot actually have a military like it has without the United States filling it out. You think they can build fighter jets like they build? They can't. The Iron Dome missiles are made in the United States. They don't have the military equipment facilities to build their tanks or their especially artillery shells, ammunition. They just quite simply cannot operate the military they have without massive U.S. support. And what is happening, and this is actually a good time. Thank you. I just wanted to show you this, chat, that the ICJ is proceeding apace, and here's why I'm right and you're wrong. And if you watch Destiny, if you're a Destiny fan, he's really bad at politics. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's kind of a fucking idiot because this is Pod Save America. These are former Obama advisors. I want you to watch this, and I want you to see what they say. And see if maybe, spaghetti-o, the worm is turning on Israel. The worm is starting to turn. Former Obama officials are now saying the quiet part out loud that Israel is a fascist fucking country and they're violating international law. And guess what? If these people are saying it to the MSNBC crew, you guys are in trouble. You're in trouble.
Are really bad in Gaza, maybe as bad as they've ever been right now. The ceasefire, ended on the 18th, and March 18th, when the Israelis started bombing again. Gaza has now been under a total Israeli blockade for about 2 months. The World Food Program said they are out of food stocks. Gaza's few remaining medical facilities are nearly out of supplies. And at the same time, IDF airstrikes are back to being like daily occurrence. The casualties are way up. In some cases, like dozens of people per day. There's reports that 1,600 people have been killed by Israeli airstrikes since the ceasefire ended. The strikes are often on tents or other temporary structures for displaced people. So there's tons of collateral damage. The Israeli force.
I want you to understand something, chat. The reason why Israel is lashing out as disgustingly violently and genocidally. And by the way, like, here's the thing about like Destiny supporters in general. They're not really political people. They're like, they oftentimes will inject themselves into political discussions or be around political discussions, but they're not really political. They don't really believe in anything. They're more nihilistic. They're more just there for the drama. They're there because politics is a place where people will get vicious. So if you want to be vicious, you know, it's like joining the military because you want to kill people, right? That's why they talk about politics, because it's a place where, you know, people get to act viciously. And then they try to justify their vicious behavior by connecting it back to politics as if it's, you know, as if it's relevant. And the reality is that, like, if you're supporting the Israeli genocide, you're a fucking freak. Like, you're not doing this because you believe in the cause of Zionism. You're doing it because you understand that it distresses some people, that leftists are against it, right? Like, you're doing it because you want to bother people and harm people, and you're doing it out of a sadistic nihilism. Like, I'm not confused about what Destiny's community is like and why they believe what they believe. They're not waiting for me to make some sort of, like, really cogent argument. I mean, the arguments are so blatantly obvious and available to everybody. And what Israel is doing is so clearly in violation of international law. So basically, you have to get to the position that might makes right, and that, you know, Palestinians deserve it because they're weak. And that's fascism. Right? That's a fascist belief. You have to believe in, like, some sort of superiority of Western civilization or of Jewish supremacy to even come close to trying to justify what's going on there. Right? And that's incompatible with even basic liberalism. And you're seeing that in Israel. Like, Benjamin Netanyahu is a fascist. The Jewish Power Party, that's part of the coalition, is a fascist party. And what are they doing around the world? They're supporting fascist parties. They're trying to stop free speech. They're trying to destroy the American university system. They're trying to make it illegal to even criticize Israel or any of the organizations that fund Israel or defend Israel. Like, we're going to get into this more, but, like, this is, and by the way, I mean, I don't know how you can possibly justify this unless you're having some sort of mental breakdown obsession with Hassan and Hassan's, you know, friends, where you're like, I just want to see them harmed. So now you find yourself working with Zionists doing a genocide and fascists who want to destroy the left physically in America. You're allying yourself with that because your stream is not growing or whatever the fuck. Like, goddamn, that is depraved, dude.
Forces there have issued dozens of conflicting evacuation orders, so people are just getting pushed all over the country. According to Reuters, Hamas has offered to release all remaining Israeli hostages in exchange for an end to the war.
Hamas has offered to release all hostages in exchange for an end to the war. Well, there goes that talking point, Ethan Klein.
Of Gaza and the release of Palestinian prisoners being held by Israel. Hamas, the counteroffer from the Israelis is reportedly a demand that they fully disarm as part of any deal, which has ended up being a non-starter for them. So, Ben, I feel like things have been so insane in the Trump era that we've not covered Gaza as frequently as we did during the first year and a half of the war. But it did seem important to highlight just how bad conditions are on the ground and the fact that the parties just seemed like they're nowhere close to any kind of ceasefire deal.
Yeah, but let's look. I just think that this is because Israel doesn't want to end the war, and Netanyahu does not want to end the war. To be specific, because if they were willing to end the war, they would get the hostages out. And the idea that they somehow need to continue to fight a war against Hamas in Gaza, I'm sorry,
there's no security.
There's no security need to do it. It's a
this
literal.
Is one of Obama's national security advisors saying, in his professional opinion, there is no military or security need to continue this war by Israel. If you're supposedly on the left, even the center left, how can you ignore this? How can you ignore this reality? The answer is you're not.
Possibility that October 7th or anything remotely approaching that, or anything really, in terms of a ground attack on Israelis could happen if the war ended tomorrow. Given the damage that's been done to Hamas, given how militarized that border is between Gaza and Israel. So there's no military necessity to carry out this war. Netanyahu is carrying out for his political purposes, and there are people in his coalition, including maybe Netanyahu himself, who want to carry out to just continue to punish and destroy the Palestinian people, if not ethnically cleanse them from Gaza, which is what a lot of people
the Trump
say.
plan,
I
yeah.
mean, that's what Donald, this is something Donald Trump says. It's something the ministers in the Israeli government say. The humanitarian situation can't be. We're not overstating it. Nothing has gotten in since mid-March. Zero.
Yeah.
We're talking no food, no medicine, in a place where there already was no infrastructure left. They destroyed all the hospitals. They destroyed all the schools. Destroyed basically all the buildings. And so you're just talking about a place in which an already traumatized, bombarded people, including a lot of injured people, like badly injured people, are being bombed in tents with no food and medicine. That's what's happening.
I was scrolling through Twitter yesterday and I saw a video of kind of the after results of an airstrike. And there was a little girl sitting on the ground and all of a sudden her head just started gushing blood like I've never seen anyone bleed in my life. And I realized I was watching the last moments of this little girl's life. And this is happening every single day.
And what makes that okay? What makes
Nothing.
that worth
It's
doing?
not.
Like what? Like
It's
don't
evil.
tell me that that's what hostage is being brought home by that. You know. So there's this is an immoral abomination that will be a stain on this country and on Israel for the rest of our lives.
A moral stain, a strategic disaster.
Yeah.
Everything about it is wrong.
Completely
and cruel
true.
And
here's the thing, Israel, I've always been against you. Me hating you is no big thing to you because I've always been an opponent of yours. Now take a look. Now take a look at what's happening. The normie libs are disgusted by your genocidal war crimes, you fucking freaks. Everybody knows what you are now. The tide is turning, you scum. And trust me. Oh, trust me. I mean, listen, the Israeli response to this is to triple down and to support fascism in America. So they can do their petty little genocide for their shitheel state. They're going to try to implement fascism in this country. They're going to harass people in my country and try to take away our voice and take away our speech. I will be goddamned before I let that happen. You're going to have to kill me in America if you think I'm going to stop. You fucking genocidal freaks. And this level of depravity, this level of disgusting cruelty and murder and pure evil is the legacy of this country. This is the legacy of Joe Biden. It is the legacy of Kamala Harris. It is the legacy of John Fetterman. It is the legacy of Democrats and Republicans alike. This will go down in history as one of the most evil acts ever committed. People will talk about the genocide of the early 21st century in Palestine as a moral stain at the level of the Holocaust. There is no going back.
Indefensible. And just now that we're all furious about this again, it's worth highlighting this report on Channel 13 News in Israel about the Biden administration's handling of the war in Gaza, the policy generally. So Channel 13 talked to a bunch of top former Biden people, it was like 9 administration officials. They talked to a bunch of the Netanyahu government. It's all in Hebrew, but a couple sites dropped site news again, and then the Times of Israel did write-ups of the main reporting. And it is both infuriating, not surprising, and confirms a lot of the assumptions we had from the very beginning about kind of what was happening behind the scenes. So one of the most damning quotes came from the Israeli ambassador to the U.S. at the time, who said that, quote, God did the state of Israel a favor that Biden was the president during this period because it could have been much worse. We fought in Gaza for over a year, and the administration never came to us and said, ceasefire now. It never did. And that's not to be taken for granted. So
So in other words, the working tirelessly for a ceasefire was a fucking lie. And by the way, did I not tell you it was a lie? Did I not tell you it was a lie? Did I not tell you? Hey, woke, what's up? Did I not tell you that it was a fucking lie? How was I able to know it was a lie? How was I able to say there's no way that they're saying we want a ceasefire now? There's no way the Biden administration is putting any pressure on Israel. Because I actually understand how Israel functions and how Israel's military functions. And if the United States said jump, Israel would say, how high? So when AOC went on that stage and said, oh, they're working tirelessly for a ceasefire, that was a disgusting lie. And notice how I reacted. When I was tested, when I saw Kamala Harris's speech, what was my reaction? Did I lie to you? Did I spin you a yarn about lesser of two evils? Did I entertain hope where none existed? Or did I tell you the fucking truth right away to your face and carry that on to November? Remember that. Remember who lied to you. Remember who spun. Remember who manipulated. Remember who closed their eyes and engaged in wishful fucking thinking, because we're going to need hard-hearted people in the future. People that will tell you the truth. And I'm proud to say I was one of them.
Obviously, trying to give Joe Biden credit there, and in so doing, offering the most damning observation you could about the administration. A couple more things that jumped out at me, Ben. The administration reportedly debated having Biden give a speech that presented the Israeli people two paths in the hopes of forcing an election. One path was get a hostage deal, get a ceasefire, get a normalization agreement with the Saudis. The other path was what we're seeing now, endless war, diplomatic isolation. But ultimately, Biden just chickened out and didn't want to push Bibi politically, and instead did that.
What a pathetic fucking loser. What a pathetic fucking loser Joe Biden is. He is a coward. He is a genocidal maniac. He is a racist. He's corrupt. And as I said from the beginning, I never found his son cute. I never found the blatant corruption of his inner circle and his family to be cute. I didn't. It's like, oh wow, it's so funny how his son is banging prostitutes and consuming massive amounts of crack cocaine while being on the board of Amtrak. You want to know why we have shit transit in this fucking country? It's because people tolerate scum like Hunter Biden as an executive of our state-owned transport company. You tolerate people that have absolutely no expertise, who are just corrupt fail sons taking these executive positions from people that actually care about it. It's not cute. Hunter Biden is not cute. He should be in federal fucking prison, locked away, and every asset he has seized for the American people. It's not fucking cute. Corruption is not cute. It's not funny. Why are people not angry about this shit? This is why this country's fucked, by the way. Like, the fact that people will be like, well, you're just mad because he's Biden's son. The fact that that is okay here is insane. And I don't know I don't know how I got these morals that apparently that everyone else doesn't have. Because it's like, am I stupid in like a profound way where I actually believe that our government should serve our interests, that our government officials should not be corrupt and stealing from us, and when I pay my taxes, is that it should actually help Americans? Am I fucking naive for saying that? And if I am, I never want to be unnaive. I never want to be the jaded scum that look past it. I want to be pissed, royally pissed.
That speech where he laid out the framework for a ceasefire deal that I guess Netanyahu had told him he agreed to, but later walked away from. There was some stuff in the story about how Biden's team was particularly angry with Netanyahu when he released that video accusing them of implementing a broad freeze on weapon shipments, when in reality, Biden had only held a single shipment of 2,000-pound bombs, and that freeze was about to be resolved. So I guess the Netanyahu response, destroyed the deal they were about to cut to ship the bombs. And so reading that, I was like, I get the frustration of these Biden staffers here because they're mad that Netanyahu lied about them, but it's also very telling that the biggest point of frustration was Biden not getting credit for having sent enough arms.
They're mad about that and not about the 2,000-pound bombs being dropped on kids. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, so
that's who Joe Biden is. That's why Joe Biden was unacceptable in 2020, and that's what I said at the time. I debated Sam Cedar, and I said, Sam, I don't want to be Bernie or bust, but who Joe Biden is bringing around him are beyond the pale. Go find the quotes. Go find the quotes. I said, listen, I'm willing to be a team player and say vote Biden to stop Trump, but we've got to have some fucking assurances that we're not going to have such a right-wing presidency. And we got the worst presidency, the worst of all worlds. What scares me is that if we're ever going to have change in this country, I don't know how to explain this, but the reality is there's not going to be a magic person that pops up out of nowhere and suddenly is the big socialist progressive leader who is pure on everything and who's going to win. Okay, that's not a thing. It's not gonna fucking happen. All right, grow up. We have the people that we have. We have Bernie, we have AOC, we have a couple other people that might plausibly be in the conversation for taking this country to the left through electoral means. All right. You may say, oh, that's not going to happen. And you're probably right to be pessimistic. I don't even give a shit that you're pessimistic. The point is, AOC destroyed her reputation in a or damaged it in a very significant way by aligning herself with these genocidal fucking maniacs for nothing in return. She's got to get smarter.
Just, it's a lot about the Saudi normalization deal. There's people admitting what was obvious all along, that Netanyahu was blocking a ceasefire for political purpose. So again, like I said at the top, like, this was obvious at the time. We talked about it at the time. Rereading it was absolutely enraging. It was a reminder all over again of what a total fucking disgrace the Biden administration's policy on Gaza was. The just unrequited, obsessive loyalty to Netanyahu blinded him to the carnage and like total immorality of the policy and the U.S. complicity in that policy. And it's outrageous.
Yeah, what's really enraging about this, well, there are different layers of it. But first of all, and you summed it up well, to try to add to that, look, it was obvious at the time that they were not really pressing them for this ceasefire. This just kind of confirms what we knew. And that's what a lot of us are angry about, that they were not implying any leverage. They weren't doing anything to try to really push a ceasefire. They were saying, so this is the second thing, is they were saying at the time, we're working like relentlessly. They were not. They were not working relentlessly for a ceasefire. They were talking about it publicly so that they had something to say. And then privately, they're just shoveling weapons at Netanyahu and mainly complaining that Netanyahu wasn't giving them enough credit for shoveling the weapons to him, I mean, it's very revealing that they were upset by Netanyahu making that video, because that's about the politics of it. They were so inside the politics of it that they weren't looking at the conduct of what was being done in Gaza in the same way. The other things I'd like to say about this, the first thing is that I think that they might believe that they were doing more than they were. They, and I'm not saying this to absolve them, anything but. I think they don't, the Israeli ambassador's words are so damning because he's making clear it was a choice for the United States to unreservedly back what Israel did for that whole year. That was a choice. It wasn't something that happened because of gravity. It wasn't something that happened.
This is a very important point, which is why I'm showing you this Pod Save Libs, because they're saying the truth. And if you're not listening to, like, honest to God, this is why like, the internet deserves smarter liberals. Like, God, if there was a smart liberal, they could fucking do really well online. But the liberals we have are fucking evil. Like, they're evil and they lack all principle. They're honest to God. How do I explain it? Okay, I have a good analogy. In Twitch, like in the Twitch streaming space, there are streamers like me who just stream what I want to stream. I say what I want to say, and I try to build my audience, and I don't give a shit what Twitch wants. I don't give a shit what Twitch likes. I don't give a shit what advertisers like. I don't give a fuck about what these people that hang around talent hoping to, sell ads to my audience want me to do. Like, I don't give a shit about the scum advertiser fucks or any of the other business, the people that are trying to profit from audiences. Okay. I don't give a fuck what they want. But there are a lot of streamers who are trying to basically to build themselves the most corporate friendly, socially climby, Twitch staff oriented stream. They come in there and they're like, welcome to my stream. The rules are no politics, no negative vibes. We're here to just unwind and have fun. Like those kind of people. And they're like, be kind. And they have this like performative progressivism that actually has no real content to it. Those people, you might even think they're nice, right? You might even think these people are progressive. But the answer is they're just doing what they calculate to be the most pro-corporate so they can make money as a streamer and open themselves up to sponsorships and revenue. What they actually believe is completely irrelevant. They're trying to make themselves into the stream that Twitch staff will unreservedly recommend to advertisers, right? That's what they're trying to create. So there's those kind of streamers, and then there's streamers like me, right? Authentic people making their own creative shit. They don't give a fuck what the advertisers want, okay? Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm one of the top streamers in the world now. Surprise, surprise, people don't want you to be a corporate drone. All right. So why did I talk about this? Well, go to politics. In politics, there's different types of political content creators. There are three major categories of content creators that make content in the political space. There are journalists. Journalists are people who operate from a journalistic ethics perspective. They try to do original reporting. They try to objectively report. Now, they have their own opinions. They have their biases. They have their sympathies. But they come at it from a perspective of, I'm a journalist. I'm coming at it with, I practice journalistic ethics. I try to source things. I have editors. I'm creating original reporting and stuff like that. Those are your reporters, your journalists, right? Sometimes, and journalists will have biases. You'll be a left-leaning journalist, a right-leaning journalist, a pro-Democrat journalist, maybe a pro-progressive journalist. You know, maybe you'll be a Trumpel. There isn't really any Trumpel journalists because you can't be a journalist and support Trump. But you get my point, right? Then you have independent political commentators. You have, political influencers, people who go out there and they have their own positions and they're all over the political spectrum and they commentate about politics and they have a viewpoint and they have goals and they talk about politics from that perspective, right? That's people like me and Hassan, right? We are great examples of people that we're politically interested, we're politically engaged because we have a perspective and we want to influence people around that perspective. And we engage with electoral politics with people that we think align with us, right? And we support movements and organizations that align with us ideologically. You get that? And then there is the vast majority of other content creators, which are very similar to those corporate streamers I talked to you about on Twitch. You have the Democrat with a capital rat, partisan influencers. And these are people that are orienting themselves to what the Democratic Party wants in the moment, right? They believe in nothing, okay? What they want is to be paid by campaigns. They want to go to the White House. They're a partisan grifter. They're a rat. They do exactly whatever people in power want them to say. They believe in nothing. They have no goals. And their job is to try to make money talking about politics, and they do so in a way to make themselves as palatable to the most milquetoast right-wing Democrats possible and advertisers. That is the vast, vast, vast majority of people on TikTok. And the vast, vast majority of people who get mega boosted. And the party sees people like me and Hassan, and they hate our ass because we are actually, whether you like it or not, and this is very cringe to say it, I'm not trying to be a self-aggrandizing because I don't think I have that much power, but we have independent power of the party. If the party says something we don't like, we say, fuck the Democrats. But those political influencers, those political grifters, they'll never say that. There's nothing the Democrats can say that they're going to be like, the Democrats are wrong here. They're going to be like, well, this is a strategic move to win elections. You guys just don't want to win. You're allergic to power. The same kind of thought terminating cliches, right? Oh, you're protesting against this position? Well, I guess you want Republicans to win. These are right-wing grifter talking points, right? Because they're social climbers. They are people who want to make money from politics, and they believe in fucking nothing. So what do I mean by that? What's the context here? The Pod Save America guys are less pathetic than those people. I want you to understand something. These Pod Save America guys who literally worked in the Obama administration are less pathetic than somebody like, for example, Hutch. Hutch believes in nothing, knows nothing, is stupid, and he is being outflanked by people who literally worked in the White House. They're less of Democratic Party shills than somebody like Hutch, who is a failed video game streamer. Like, are you fucking kidding me, man? Can you imagine being that much of a fucking pathetic loser? It's crazy.
Because politics inevitably means you support Israel unconditionally.
Too raw, too
Joe
real is
Biden
another
made
example.
a choice to provide unconditional military support to this Israeli government and this military operation.
Pay up, Hutch.
And just mouthing words of concern about the scale of loss of life doesn't matter. You made that choice. Another thing, this Saudi normalization thing kept coming up. Like, I don't understand why they missed this opportunity. Right. Because you fundamentally, And what is amazing to me is some of these people are people that kind of put themselves forward as like experts on Israel. It's fundamentally misunderstanding this Israeli government. Given the choice between having like commercial flights between Riyadh and Jerusalem and ethnically cleansing Gaza, of course they're going to choose to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Why do we understand this Israeli government better than you do? Like,
or even just like even more pathetic and selfish, the choice between direct flights to Riyadh or Netanyahu staying in power.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
Like,
yeah, that's right. Because with Netanyahu it's staying in power, with like Ben Gvir and Smotrich, it's the West Bank and Gaza.
Right.
The West Bank and Gaza are much more important than a Saudi normalization deal. And so what we're still like talking about Israel as if it's our version of Israel, or Democratic Party foreign policy version of Israel, is like, well, of course they'll want normalization with Saudi Arabia more than they'll want to, like, you know, kill the two-state solution and try to take back West Bank and Gaza. Like, that's misreading this government. The last thing I want to say, Tommy, is like, and we can have a conversation about this. Like, I try to hold some space here because if you've listened to this podcast for 6-7 years,
The Ben Gurion missile strike. Oh, tell me more. What do you mean by that?
I'll speak for myself. I don't want to speak for you, but I think you've probably gone through a similar process. But I've had to deprogram a bit.
Totally.
You know? I was much more defensive in 2017 about
For sure.
drone
It takes a while.
strikes or, you know, things that we did that we were part of some things that were wrong. We were part of, actually, because some things that are just baked into U.S. national security are wrong, right? And it's been not.
What was that? Some things that are baked into the U.S. national security are wrong? Well, you don't say. A Yemeni missile hit the Ben Gurion airport? Oh, yeah. I
Nice
did
to
hear
have
about
this
that.
forum and to interact, obviously, with so many people around the world and force us to not do that, you know, to be more honest about, and I'm not suggesting we're all the way there yet. My advice to these people, some of whom we know well, some of whom are our friends, is don't do that. Like,
Why do people pretend we're not friends with Saudi Arabia? Because it allows them to do racism, right? Like Saudi Arabia, like what is the Saudi royal family? It's made up. It's up-jumped warlords that we bribed so we could steal all the oil. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's basically, it was these guys in tents, and we said, if you're going to serve as our compradors, you're going to serve as our imperial administrators, will make you and your family supremely rich. 50-50. We'll split it 50-50. We'll make you supremely rich. So this family is just a crime family. It's a mafia family. And what did that mafia family do? They went to the most right-wing, conservative, religious, people in the country. They said, we're going to pour money into your hyper-conservative form of Islam. So if you can and they use that religion to legitimate their rule. So they bribe the most conservative forms of Islam to legitimate their rule over Mecca and Medina. And so we have this fundamentalist Islamist fundamentalist monarchy spewing hate and terrorism all throughout the world. This is not Iran. This is Saudi Arabia. And this is a state that could only exist by our support. And why did we do this? Well, because we wanted to oppose pan-Arab nationalism. If there was an Arabia that of 500 million Arabs that stretched from, the Persian Gulf to the fucking Atlantic, it would be a world superpower. All right? So we're not doing that. We're not going to set up the superpower that challenges us. We're not going to allow Arab nationalism to rise. So what do? We created these potentates. We created these little imperial administrators, these little what's the word in India? Fuck. It's how the British ruled India. It's how we rule the Middle East. What are they? Satrap? What is the word for it? Hold on. I mean, like, yeah. I think that's what I think that's the word I'm looking for.
don't rationalize, don't explain the best spin, don't try to pick the one time that Biden said something that makes it look like you pressured Israel. In fact, don't talk about it at all right now. I actually wondered why 9 people talked to Channel 13 in Israel. Sit with this. Think about it. Absorb it. Listen to people in Gaza. Consume those images. And I'm not, I don't want this to come across preachy. I really don't. I say this as someone who did that thing of like defending everything we did and tying myself in knots. It's not healthy, you know, like, so this is not me. I swear to God, this is not, I'm not trying to come at this from some highfalutin place. I'm saying actually as someone who's, that's the wrong path. You know, there's another path of, because actually it'd be good for American foreign policy and Democratic Party national foreign policy for people to truly evolve and be like,
Wait. MBS admitted on Fox News that the Wahhabi Islamic ideology had been adopted as a tool to limit communist influence during the Cold War. Please show the article and interview. Wait, what? Really? He admitted it? Satrapies are Persian. Yeah, I was using, you know what I mean? Like the way that the British East India Company used like local provincial rajas or whatever. I'm blanking on the term for it, but basically they farmed out their imperial administration to domestic elites. DG hippie. Oh, okay. What's this guy? Mike, did Mike ever admit he lied about me? Hey, Mike, care to apologize for lying about me, or are you going to tuck tail? No, I just think it's really funny that Hutch is going to be is trying to climb off of Ethan Klein's coattails. Hey, maybe that'll work. I mean, the Destiny orbiting didn't work. The Destiny orbiting didn't work, so why doesn't he try orbiting Ethan D. Klein? You guys have really bad instincts, huh? You're pretty stupid. Do you guys ever reflect on how wrong you are on everything all the time? Does that ever happen? You seem kind of stupid. Anyway, Hutch owes me $1,500. Can you go ahead and pass that back? He should pay up because Trump. Hey, Joe Biden didn't get reelected, and Donald Trump isn't in prison. We bet money on that. You remember that? Hey, he was so confident that Donald Trump was going to go to prison and that Joe Biden would be reelected. Does that embarrass you at all? Say it's embarrassing how wrong he is about politics. Come on. I mean, you're a mod for this guy, which means in a certain sense, you're also that kind of dumb. You're lying about me. Did he not bet? Was he not sure that was true? Did he not predict that? Are you saying that wasn't his predictions? Anyway, the reason why that post went viral, is this the same Hutch that played GTA RP? I don't know. Did he play GTA RP? Release the DMs. I already did. I already posted them. He has it's DMs between us. If I'm lying, he could show the DM. Although this is like years old at this point. Like, what do you want me to remember what happened 3 years ago? I have the DMs. I posted the shit. Like, it is what it is. And by the way, did he think that Joe Biden would win? And did he think, why are you confused about this? Did he think Donald Trump would go to prison? Did he think those things? Like, leave aside the bet. Leave aside the bet for a second. Did he think those things? DJ Hippie, did you think that Donald Trump was going to go to prison and that Joe Biden would win re-election? Did you think that? Answer the question. When you answer the question, we can move on. Why are you such a pussy? I don't understand. Did I know? Why didn't you think that? I guess you listened to me over Hutch then, huh? Hey, at least you had better political instincts than Hutch. Why did Hutch think that? We're waiting. Anyway, why did Hutch ban me from his chat? I was just asking for my money. Why are you shaking Hutch's mods? I don't know, because he's funny. It's funny. You're a Destiny supporter, man. That's the guy you like. Do you like Destiny? He even knows what my birthday is. No, I don't. Well, do you acknowledge that Hutch is a Destiny orbiter? Do you acknowledge that? No, and by the way, say, I don't like Destiny. You never accepted the bet. Yes, I did. Yes, I fucking did. That's why. I wanted the bet because he's stupid and I wanted the money. I knew that Joe Biden was going to lose and I knew Donald Trump wasn't going to prison, which is exactly what happened. You'd be down to take me up on $1,000 bet that Trump ends up incarcerated after all these trials. Basically, the bet was prison for Trump for 30 days or more before January 21st, 2025. You win $1,000. If not, I win. This was in August of 2023. I told you he would not go to prison. So the bet is Biden wins the 2024 presidential election. If he does, you get 500. If not, I get 500. November 7th, 2021. Assuming he runs against Trump, yeah. He's the incumbent. If he's not president in 2025, I win the bet. I'll accept a $500 bet with those terms. Look at how much, by the way, he's trying to argue that Joe Biden is some sort of like really good president who's going to win in a re-election in a landslide. And I'm like, no, he's not. And he's like, well, he would beat Trump if Trump runs. And I'm like, let's make a bet on Joe Biden, right? That's what the topic was. And he accepted it and he ran away, at least as far as I remember. So here's the reality about the bets. I don't even really care about the money because $1,500 is nothing to me. But I care about Hutch saying his politics are wrong and his analysis is wrong, which is why they're trying to divert to everything else, except the fact that his analysis is wrong. Anyway, I'm not gonna ban you because I want you to listen to Obama's national security advisor telling you that Israel is doing a genocide and ethnic cleansing and war crimes in Gaza. You fucking delusional freak. You Destiny Orbiter clown. You second-tier Destiny Orbiter.
Like, you know, that's wrong. You know,
and give courage to the next generation of foreign policy staffers who are scared that they are going to get destroyed by AIPAC or these groups that are attacking, you know, YouTubers like Miss Rachel if she, you know, speaks about the humanity of the Palestinian people. Like break that cycle. You know, I'm totally with you on the broader point that it took me forever to do a better job of thinking for myself, gaining perspective, reading more, learning more. Like you just grow as a human being, you understand more. But also just on this narrow policy, I guess what I'd ask people is, I don't care how hard Joe Biden worked a problem.
Nobody cares.
What I care is about the outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look at what's happening on the ground.
Yeah.
Like it is a fucking disaster. More people are dead. 1,600 people are dead since the ceasefire ended. That you guys couldn't get over the finish line. That Trump somehow got over the finish line. And I know these are not easy problems. They're brutally hard. Every option after October 7th was a bad option. But blind loyalty to Bibi Netanyahu, a right-wing autocrat, was a massive mistake. And like we just have to acknowledge that because of the damage it did to the people in Gaza, but also the damage it did to the Democratic Party.
Yeah, it's indefensible. And the thing is, sometimes you're programmed to think about, because you actually don't come to work thinking you want to do that. You come to work thinking you want a ceasefire. You come to work thinking, you know, we just need to get through this and maybe the next phone call with Bibi, like it'll work out. But part of what you have to wrestle with is, to your point, just the fact that you were in a lot of meetings and you stayed up late and a lot of phone calls were made and trips were made. The world experiences.
I know one Destiny fan in my life, he overdosed in his basement and stayed there for a week. That's really sad. That's really sad. I mean, like Destiny attracts a certain type of incel underachiever. Like the type of guy who was told they were gifted and talented in elementary school. And maybe, you know, they did decently without studying too hard. But then once you start getting in high school or college and you have to start being self-reliant and take care of yourself, they kind of fall off. And to them, who they are is the potential that they tell themselves they'll one day achieve, as opposed to the life they actually live and the directionless existence they are in. And so they occupy their brains and themselves with internet drama and this internet harassment community of finding people that they jointly hate. So instead of you know, reflecting and looking at themselves, friendless, maidenless, no good job, no educational attainment, they kind of spiral. And I think this is Destiny in a nutshell. That's who Destiny also is. He's the one-eyed man in the land of the blind, right? And he creates a space that is perfectly tuned for that kind of guy. And it's always a guy. 95% of them are guys. I think the majority of them are outright virgins. So we're talking about adolescents and men who are, you know, failure to launch. We're talking about men who are unable to get any pussy, and to put it bluntly, or bussy. And they're just people who are directionless. They have no potential. They have no ability to discern what bullshit is from the truth. And they just find themselves in this internet cycle of chasing the enemies that Destiny has set up for the community as acceptable to attack. You know, they were bullied most of their lives, so they, with the protection of the anonymity of the internet and in the crowd of DGG, the Taliban, they get to fulfill a certain like psychic need to feel powerful and to feel part of something when it's really nothing. And that's why even when Destiny was humiliated and Destiny was cast down and exposed as a sex criminal, for many of them, they kept hating the same targets that Destiny told them to hate because they have nothing else. They deleted all their posts. They unfollowed Destiny, but they still try to go after the people that Destiny set them up to hate because they have nothing else. They have literally nothing.
Is the outputs. It's kind of like what we're saying with Trump in reality. And the reality is that the system that was built is part of the problem. The system that was built to just shovel those weapons to the Israeli government, that's part of the problem. And you're never going to change that system if you're just defending how you managed the system at the time.
Yeah,
you know?
and by the way, hands up, right? Like Barack Obama signed a 10-year MOU that
yes,
provided
that was
$3
wrong.
billion
That was
a year
wrong.
to the Israeli
and
government.
we did that in part because we were defensive about the Iran deal. Wrong. We shouldn't have done that. We knew who Bibi was. We should not have signed a 10-year memorandum. I'm sure I defended it at the time. That was wrong. Like that system that was a part of was the wrong system. And you'll never really change the system if you're kind of constantly defending your management of it, you know?
Yeah, and just one last point on this. I mean, of the 9 people, like officials quoted in that story, and I honestly don't even know who all of them are because I didn't watch the video. I just read the reports. I mean, I think probably a couple were actually in high-level meetings with Joe Biden all the time. Like, this is not a staff problem. There were clearly some staffers who I think were in a bad place and providing very, very bad advice to Joe Biden. This begins and ends with him. Like,
I mean, exactly. It's Joe Biden's position. Oh, by the way, I wanted to make an offer to the Hutch mod. If you can, if you write down a message saying my name is with your first and last name, and you record a video of you saying, "Hey, I actually think Ethan Klein won this debate, and I support Israel," I will correct everything. I just don't want to issue corrections if I'm not sure you're actually the guy and you're not an imposter. So if you can come out there and say you support what Israel is doing in Palestine with your first and last name, and you post a video reading that, then I'll be happy to do a correction. I feel uncomfortable making, like, because I have the original message from the mod account, so I want to make sure that we get your views out correctly. I don't want to spread misinformation, but I also want to make sure that your views are fairly expressed. I want everybody to know what your views are. And so we can keep that keep that video for as long as possible. Obviously, you shouldn't have any concerns about that. Anyway, let's get back to Obama's advisors, national security advisors and speechwriters saying how Israel's doing a genocide and Joe Biden was totally wrong. Anyway, let's keep going.
this was clearly a problem.
100%
he owned to the great detriment of the policy outcome, but
Being
also
petty is all you have, Dr. Philippe. You should be petty with people that are disgusting rats. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody's supporting a genocide, you should not treat them as if they are a good person, right? You should treat them with the contempt they deserve.
to himself politically.
Yeah.
Because I've been reading the Jake Tapper book. I can't get into all the details of it, but it's clear, like, at some point, Biden just started spending all of his time doing Ukraine and Gaza stuff and like didn't get either of those problems solved and forgot everything else he needed to do for a re-election. It's a fucking
and
disaster.
it's 100% right that we have to. It begins and ends with Joe Biden. It was his policy choice, and you're right. Like the vast majority of the staff, like totally different people could have been there, and the result would have been exactly the same. The reason I think it's important though for staff to wrestle with these things when they're out of government is that's the only way that things change when you come back.
Oh,
into
absolutely.
government,
No,
right?
I totally agree with
Or
you.
you want the next Democratic presidential candidates to have staff or advisors who've learned some things, and digested these things. So that's the evolution I would encourage.
If the next person who works on foreign policy for a Democrat says hug Bibi,
Yeah.
they need to be
That
walked out
person-
of the building.
yeah.
Pete Hegseth them out of the building that minute.
Yeah, and we know who gives that advice, and you don't need to listen to those.
Don't
people.
listen to those people.
Does AOC get the same smoke for running cover? I just literally said that. I said that earlier when we were watching this. At any point, did these people say we will listen more to progressives about topics to avoid making these mistakes? Otherwise, these apologies are useless? Well, I mean, part of the way that Pod Save America and Pod Save the World are orienting themselves more to the left is by promoting people like Hasan, right? Like, because Hasan is right. Like, Hasan and I have been right about everything, and people like Destiny and Hutch have been wrong about everything, right? So the reason why, like, Destiny's not going on Pod Save America and Hasan is, even though Hasan is a lot more to the left than Pod Save America, is because he's smarter, more charismatic, and has been right longer, right? And they're orienting themselves toward where the center of gravity in the Democratic Party is going. And right now, liberal Zionism is gone. As this video, is liberal Zionism dead? Yes, it is dead. There's nothing more to say. All right, chat, we've got ourselves a new North Star Radio. Ethan Klein versus iDubbbz Explained. Let's fucking go. It's Sunday, fun day. And to me, laughing at Ethan Klein's fucking this is what I love about it. What I love about Ethan Klein is, can I say this? Can I be completely honest? And I want Ethan Klein to see this, so I hope he watches this one day. Which is, what I love about the situation that's happened to Ethan Klein is that he threw himself in. They threw himself in with Destiny and Dan Saltzman, and because of his narcissistic meltdown over Hasan not running cover for his support of Israel. And it's just destroying his career. It's destroying his career. And he's going down the drain because as soon as you start associating yourself with Destiny and those Destiny freaks, everything just starts falling apart, you know? Like, everything just slowly starts to dissolve. And everybody who isn't just brain dead, stupid, or a parasocial freak, they start falling away. They just start falling away. And the reason they start falling away is because the overwhelming majority of people on both sides of the aisle do not support Israel's genocide in Gaza, and they're disgusted by it. So basically everyone under the age of 40 who isn't a disgusting freak is anti-Israel. At least they don't want to support what's going on. And so he's destroying his career for a position that is just unsupportable. And I just love to see it. And because of their narcissism, because of their orientation to be anti-Hasan or anti-me or anti-leftist, they're putting themselves in a position that no one supports. Very few people support. And so you just absolutely love to see it. Is that Obama staffer conversation a sign of the legitimate tone shift from the Democratic Party, or is that kind of a one-off? It is a legitimate tone shift. If the Obama staffers on Pod Save America are now saying that Joe Biden was wrong to support Netanyahu and he lied about fighting for a ceasefire, like, this is opening up space for a fundamental realignment on this issue. Now, it's going to take time because Israel's spies are very much oriented in influencing and pressuring the legislature. And that's what they focused on, right? Did you see what Brace pulled off? Did I see the Hasan news? Fox News did a hit piece on Hasan. Can you link me it? Guys, you're asking me if I saw something that I literally posted about. I said he's the best to ever post. Grok claims not to be conscious. Is there a scientific belief out there that consciousness simply arises out of complex systems of reasoning? So why does Grok lack it? The other explanation, it lies about it. Try Grok's 18+ mode. Bring yourself to completion every night for a week. Then tell me Grok isn't alive. And tell me she's not a woman. The future is fucking amazing. Elon Musk posted that. He screenshotted that conversation and posted it. And then Brace replied, I've been thinking about you every second of every day for many years. 2 members of your amazing family have boosted me in 1 week. Message received. We are going to change the effing world. It's so funny that I'm like blushing. It's so funny. I'm fucking blushing, dude. The best poster. Message received. Message received. We're gonna change the fucking world, dude. Oh my God, it's so good, dude. It's so fucking good, dude.
Did reach out to Hasan Piker for a comment, and he has not yet responded.
Wait, what? No, they didn't. Hey, yo, what the hell? I don't know why they said that. You're
because
on Fox.
That's like journalistic ethics. All right, let's keep it going. Holy shit. Like, Sunday stream? Yeah, duh. What I absolutely love about the whole situation is, like, Destiny and Ethan Klein are like, yeah, go Fox News. Yeah, go Fox News. Oh no, the New York Times is writing a puff piece on Hassan. Oh no, Slate is writing a puff piece on Hassan. Oh no, the New York. And it's like, do you not get it that you're a Republican? Do you not get that you guys are right wingers? Do you not understand that you're allying yourself with Fox News and Trump, you dumb fuck? Do you not get that? And then people like Hutch are just sitting there like blinkered, like cow, like deer in the headlights, like, Hassan is so bad for the left. Meanwhile, Hassan has 110,000 live concurrent viewers. Hutch is sitting there with 600 on his best fucking day, and he thinks he can say who's bad for the left. Mind numbing. By the way, these are the same people that told me that AOC was economically illiterate and too radical. Now she's like the most popular Democrat after Bernie Sanders. They're just completely deluded. They're completely wrong about everything we've ever debated on. It's so like one of my favorite things is how they like a couple years later try to adopt my positions by launching an attack on me while they do it. It's very funny to watch. We should put out a video about that. On your anti-recommendation, I watched a rehearsal. It was the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my entire life, and I hated every minute of it. I loved it. Nathan Fielder must be stopped. That's exactly what I feel. They had a screen grab for Ethan's IG story, Hassan's schizo post on their clip reel of Hassan on Fox News. Oh, we're going to watch that. Don't worry. It's very funny. All right, hold on. You're linking me DG Hippie. He deleted his account?
Hello?
Did he delete his account?
This is Ian. I just got at your place, dude. I'm out front.
Oh,
Bro,
cool. What up, man? Nice. Cool. All right. I'm going to go let you in.
Bro, I was going to do it. All you had to do is record a message in a video saying, I believe in Israel's right to defend itself, and I think Ethan Klein won the debate. I would have deleted. That's all I wanted. And your name is first name, last name. That's all I wanted. I just wanted you to put your name on it. Like, what the fuck? Why did you run away? What the hell? What? I have my name out there. You guys post my name all over the place. You dig into my history. What the hell? Right? I am judged by my public persona for the last 15 years. Why don't you want to be judged? Damn. Oh, well.
Coming through the garage, okay? I'll meet you there. Oh, hey, there you are. Hey, how was the drive? Oh, it was good.
H3H3 Productions and iDubbbz are foundational in both Gen Z's online upbringing and YouTube history entirely. From Content Cop and Bad Unboxing to Hot Night videos and an unfortunately long N-word compilation, both creators helped define YouTube's golden age of edgy comedy.
No!
Ian, we're over here.
Okay, well, how am I gonna get up there?
I've got a fire escape ladder.
It'd be nice if you got a solid ladder that didn't swing. Maybe we film a normal video. Don't have to do any goofs or gags, but, you know, obviously, it seems like you're playing one on me.
As their
I'm sorry to say, but Hassan lost the debate because Ethan got Hassan to admit he voted for Harris. There's no coming back from that. I mean, listen. I went on the election day stream and said I didn't vote for Kamala Harris. So that's a win right there. Like, that's the win. I also told him that Pennsylvania was fucked hours before everyone else called it. I called Pennsylvania like on his stream hours before everybody else called it. Best fucking analyst ever. Why? Because I actually know my state.
careers diverged and their collaboration
also doesn't matter. Who cares?
Faded into history, their paths unexpectedly converged again in 2025. Not through partnership, but through conflict.
A few days ago, my good friend Ian, also known as iDubbbz, released a content cop about me.
I didn't plan on making a content cop on H3.
Can we compare the aging of the two men? Can we compare? Okay, so we're at 1 minute 40 seconds. But can we just compare the aging of the two men real quick? My dad is like in his 70s. He just started to get this kind of neck skin thing. Let's compare them to their more youthful days. I honestly feel like he looks like he aged backwards, honestly. Ethan looks plump here, but he looks pleasantly plump. You know what I mean? He looks pleasantly plump.
But through...
Wait, does his shirt say don't vote? Is that what his shirt says? Is that don't vote? Is that what that is?
conflict.
A few days ago, my good
Somebody
friend
look that old collab up together.
Ian, also known as iDubbbz,
Released
released
Don't Panic? No, it said TE.
a content cop about me.
I didn't plan on making a content cop on H3. It sounds very stupid even saying that. H3 content cop. If I would imagine this in 2016, I would have been like, oh yeah, if I ever do that, it's gotta be because I lose the plot. Well, it turns out it's not me losing the plot, it's Ethan.
After Child Protective Services reportedly showed up at Ethan and Neela Klein's home in the early morning hours, that day's H3 podcast episode was weirdly centered around Ian and Anissa. Not because of anything they said, but because of what they didn't.
Thanks, Anissa, for standing up for your girl. I actually stood up for you so many times, because like, why would I not? It was crazy. Of course I was gonna stand by you. That's insane. But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me. If you want to hang out with those people and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
Let's just say the online discourse was heavily centered around Giardia, a fecally transmitted illness, according to Ethan, who casually claimed he, his kids, and even his dog all had.
An anaerobic flagellated protozoan parasite of the phylum Monada. Wow, that's a mouthful right there. An anaerobic flagellated it's flagellated protozoan, because for the flagellum, so it's flagellated protozoan parasite. Okay.
Olive has Giardia. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He has Giardia. Ela has Giardia. I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my God. If you're making an active decision that like you don't give a fuck about your health, your dog shitting all over the house to the point where your kids are getting Giardia, that's the image of someone who is not well.
Ian, who has largely stayed silent throughout Ethan's public unraveling, finally broke his silence, not out of malice, mostly out of concern. And he did it in the only way he knew how, by bringing Content Cop out of retirement after 7 long
I'm trying to wrap my head around the H3 workers surrounding Hila and Ethan. How do they sit by and watch this while clients in the channel fall apart? Has anyone set up a flare? Here's what it is, okay? Scuffed Meta. The crew have 2 elements to them. The first is they're kind of mean-spirited and they like having a famous lolcow as their boss, right? Like they kind of they're enjoying the Ethan Klein's mental decline as much as us. Can you imagine working for Ethan Klein for all those years and the way he treated them? So they get to they're kind of getting to enjoy the entire internet take out a pound of flesh. So they get to sit back and be like, oh no, it's so terrible. Look at these evil clips of what they're saying. And they're like kind of milking him and they're kind of enjoying watching him spiral. You know what I mean? Like I think people underestimate how much they're enjoying watching him suffer. And they're kind of setting him up to suffer more. Which is something that it took me a while to figure out, but then I realized that's what makes sense. Like AB hates Ethan Klein and he enjoys watching him get humiliated. You know what I mean? So, and then the best part of that is Ethan is paying them like 6 figures, I think. I don't even really know how much they make. They never really say how much they make. I'm curious. I want to know how much they make. Like, do you make more than me? Like, I'm curious. Like, I don't run any ads and I have no sponsors. I just go off of my membership, so my subscription. So I'm wondering, like, do they make more than me? Like, I wonder, like, how much do they make? So that, you know, and do they own part of the show? Like, do they own part of H3 or is it all Ethan's show and they're just like workers? You know what I mean? So I'm very curious about that. So I feel like they don't own it and they're just paid a salary because they like, if you owned the show, you would intervene by now because the show is declining. You know what I mean? So it feels like they're being paid a salary and they're enjoying watching their boss they hate suffer. And it took me a while to understand that, but then it's like, oh no, this is the only thing that actually makes sense, right? Because like, if you had any principles or you believe to say like Palestine or whatever, you would never work for a guy like that. So they obviously don't care about any of that. They're just enjoying Ethan like kind of falling off and suffering. And then when it's like really advantageous for them in a time of their choosing, they will eject. So when Ethan needs them the most and it's the most advantageous for them, they'll leave. So it kind of like, I get it now. I don't know why Ethan Klein is letting them set him up like that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Like, if they're going to let Ethan, like, if Ethan's going to let himself be milked by his supposed workers, who, I mean, and a lot of the stuff that is like embarrassing Ethan actually comes from the staff, right? Like the staff complaining. Like, I And this is something I wish Ethan would answer me on, and the staff would talk about, because it's like when they were talking about how it's swarming with flies. Does anyone have that clip? Does anyone have the clip of like Ethan Klein talking about how it wasn't that bad, and they were all like, no, there's so much stinky trash and it's swarming with flies, and the way they would talk about how there was shit everywhere? So it's almost like they're kind of setting Ethan up to be humiliated. And so it seems to me that they're staying on because they like drawing a paycheck for watching their boss get destroyed. And then when it's good for them, or when the show finally hits like kind of a breaking point. I mean, how many months in a row could you have negative 50,000 subscribers? You know what I mean? Like if you look at the show and the views are really not hitting, right? Like they're really not doing that. They're not doing too hot, right? Oh, this is the productions channel. Sorry. Let me go over to the podcast. Like the podcast has fallen off quite a bit since Hasan left. I mean, down negative 20,000. This is the thing they post on. Like this is a very active channel, and it's outright losing tens of thousands. I mean, since October of 2023, they've had negative subscribers or zero every month. And even as they're like one of the internet's biggest fucking like they were the internet's biggest lol cow, and they only had 13 million views. But when they had Hasan on there, they had 30 million. Like I'm the internet's biggest topic of conversation, and I only have 13 million when my show in 2013 had 30. Like they're falling off super hard because a lot of the people that are watching them now are just drama frogs, right? And when they're not engaged in drama, are just going to go away and leave them. I think they're getting fans from DGG. No, they're getting drama frogs. So the drama frogs are showing up and engaging and baiting Ethan. And so it's kind of smoothing it out. But overall, they're just losing their core fan base.
Years to respectfully dunk on Ethan Klein.
It's also notable their subscribers didn't increase with 100,000 live concurrent viewers on Friday. Yeah, isn't that crazy? And like, if you compare it to like Hasan, like I know we talked about this, but I do think it's like very illuminating of, you know, kind of my perspective on this in general is like, everyone I like is gaining, like Hasan's views he has 20,000 views in April, or excuse me, 20 million views in April. They had only 13 million. So on Hasan's second channel, his YouTube channel, which is not his main channel, he has 20 million views, and they have only 13 million. And this is not an election. This is on par with like swearing in and like better than he did in election month. Like this is crazy. This is crazy, you know? Yeah, he gained subscribers, 30K subscribers in the last 30 days. Line go up for Hasan, you know what I mean? This is his YouTube, you know? So when you compare like to like, Hasan has almost double the views. He's gaining subscribers. They're losing subscribers. He's getting all these, articles in the mainstream media. And here's the thing. If you're on the left, Fox News running a hit piece on you is not damaging. Nobody gives a shit. In fact, they use that as evidence that you're worth paying attention to. If Fox News is trying to trash you, then I should back you up. That's what these dumb fucks don't understand. The more they promote hate from, Tom Cotton or Fox News, the more that pushes Hasan into the arms of more mainstream social democrats. Like they're actually helping radicalize the country. Thank you. Thank you so much. Please keep doing it. That's the thing that they don't understand, is that I love this. I love the fact that me and Denims, for example, we're exploding in popularity. Thank you. Thank you, you fucking idiots. You're helping. Bad Empanada doubled his viewership. North Star Radio is like quadrupled his viewership. Like, thank you, you stupid fuck. Keep it up. And here's the thing, they won't listen to me. They think I'm lying. I'm not. I'm telling you the exact truth on everything. This isn't a manipulation. This is me speaking honestly and openly. And thank you, Ethan Klein. Thank you, Destiny. Thank you so much. Keep trying to fight us. You guys are not good at it. You just boost us. You're increasing our engagement. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Holy shit. It's fucking crazy. Like, I mean, I'm bigger than I've ever been. I'm bigger than I've ever been. Like, look at these numbers. Like, what are you doing? Holy shit. And you want to see who the biggest winner is? Legitimately the queen. I mean, look at this. She just broke 4K. legitimate 4K. Like she's like Denims and I, like, oh my god, like you guys are so stupid. You're legitimately stupid. She's getting 92 followers an hour. 92 followers an hour. That's insane. That's insane. You guys are so stupid. Holy shit, like, I think she just got her statue. I should remind her of that. I think she just got her statue. She just got her Twitch statue. Like, look at this. Yeah. Yeah, look at my statue. So this is a statue that Twitch sends you. It's really heavy. For 5 million hours watch. I don't know, you can't see it, but she just broke 5 million because of them. They just got her Twitch statue. Holy shit. That's so fucking awesome. Do you know how hard it is to get to 5 million hours watched? 5 million hours. 5 million hours. God, they're so stupid. I'm literally going to DM her right now. I'll be like, get your statue. I'm going to say, hold on. I'm literally going to DM her and be like, get your statue right now. Okay. Holy shit, dude. That's incredible. That's fucking incredible. Honestly, like, Denim's Refugees in right now. I just put it in my title. Denim's Refugees in because, like, Jesus Christ. Like, look at this. Amazing.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by viewers like you. Become a member today and unlock exclusive content at
Why is she not on? She's busy.
patreon.com/NorthstarRadio.
Denims is busy. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Denim's next stream. I'm so fucking hyped. I'm so fucking hyped. I wish I could tell you the exciting shit that we've been cooking up, or she's been cooking up. I'm not taking any credit. It's all Denim's. The exciting thing she's been cooking up. I'm so fucking excited. I'm so fucking excited. I think she's gonna stream next on Thursday. Did she say that yet? Oh shit, am I leaking? Oh, she did say that? Okay, thank God. Okay, thank God. Thank God, thank God, thank God. Oh God, I felt like a wave of panic. I was like, oh shit, I leaked her information. Oh fuck, I'm the worst friend. So I'm excited. Like, I'm legitimately excited. You guys are going to be, let's just say you guys are going to be hyped. I hope. I mean, I was hyped. When I heard about it, I was like, it was one of those things where you hear something and then I was surprised. Like, I reacted like this, like, and then my cheeks started hurting because I was smiling so much. And I started doing a gut laugh. So you'll see. You'll see. Be hyped. Be hyped for Thursday. That's all I can say. I can't say anything more. All right, let's keep going. I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm just hyping it. I'm just hyping it up. I want you to be buzzing and speculating. I'm not telling you shit. No hints.
Before the drama, before the CPS calls and Giardia discourse, Ethan and Ian were friends. Kind of. I don't really know.
Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, where we are friends with Denims, but I would say it's the same level of friendship that we had with Ethan and Hila. It's like kind of an internet friendship.
Ethan and iDubbbz were more or less in the same YouTube content niche. Edgy, uncensored, anti-woke comedy. In 2016, iDubbbz was on the H3 podcast. That same year, he made an appearance in some iconic H3 Productions videos like Vape Nation, Colorblind Glasses, and the aforementioned Hot Knife video. One of his more notorious moments was his first appearance on the podcast.
Who said it's just been around the block? Yeah. I love that I can just say yeah. Like, I feel like you're using it a little liberally. I love saying
Throughout this time, Ian and Ethan were simultaneously working on their own projects and collaborating with other creators besides just each other. Like Ian's popular series Comedians on Scooters Getting Crunchwrap Supreme, or whatever it's called, where he had the whiz kid himself, Vsauce, as a guest.
Hey, Michael, how's it going?
Good to see you.
Good.
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
You feeling all right?
Yeah, I'm a little bit hungry. I like it pretty short.
Pretty short?
Yeah, I don't like that big
I like
man.
them short and thick.
Yeah.
The most popular series between the two was iDubbbz's Content Cop, a series Ethan actually made a cameo in as well. Content Cop was a show meant to call out the worst of YouTube, people using the platform to bully and harass smaller creators. However, Content Cop sort of became what it was critiquing when iDubbbz decided to show up to a Tana Mojo meetup and add to his compilation.
Yeah, did he like yell the N-word or something really cringe and fucking like insane? If somebody did that to me, my reaction would be like two-step. The first would be like, okay, this guy, we gotta get this guy out. And if it was an escalation, I feel like you would be justified in like defending yourself.
Say.
Ian eventually stopped making Content Cops and collaborating with Ethan entirely, and years later ended up apologizing for his behavior in the earlier years of his time on YouTube. His apology even reached Tana, and it seemed appreciated.
And I guess he posted this apology video apologizing for like a bunch of things he did in the past, one of them being the video he made with me or like to me. And I was like, damn, I just never expected that. And I don't know how I feel about it, you know, because like I kind of think I like deserved that. I was debating having him on Canceled and kind of on my podcast. It also was just so long ago, and I feel like I've garnered such a new fan base since then that a lot of people don't even really know about it.
You don't want to rehash anything? Or...
Not even that. I just like, you know what I mean? Like it's when something's been so long, what's the point?
Okay, I feel that.
He seems like he's doing great.
The only sort of connection Ethan had with Ian after their collaborations dried
up. A
up.
lot of people I really like made mistakes. You know, I think the thing that really is concerning me about Gen Z is that there is this like social one-upsmanship game that is played in Gen Z, which isn't true of millennials, where the difference between millennials and Gen Z is that, especially for us older millennials, we were allowed to be dumbasses, and it's not preserved. We were allowed to make mistakes. When I was 25, I was saying and believing dumb shit, and I was saying and believing really cool and base shit. And I talk about the really cool and base things I did, and I don't talk about the cringe shit I did, because that's called being changing and being kind of ashamed of the dumb takes I used to have. You know what I mean? And I feel like Gen Z is in this panopticon world where they can't, like, every dumb thing they ever did is now permanently attached to them. And so instead of people being like I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Like if somebody was 15, a 15-year-old white kid from the suburbs, so someone who's really, really not, shouldn't be saying it, and goes on and starts saying the N-word on the internet, right? And a social media account. And then 5-10 years later, they're posting about how much, you know, social justice or protesting for Black lives or supporting some sort of like, you know, Bernie Sanders or some progressive movement. People will search through their social media, their old social media, and try to find something that is problematic. And like, yes, I think that if you have a social media account from when you were a teenager, you should go back through it and delete the shit or hide the shit that is not in accordance with your current views. But you know who does that kind of shit? Politicians. So now Gen Z has created this, like, they've kind of embraced a public face and a private face in a way that millennials didn't. Millennials engaged with social media authentically. That's why millennials are so cringy, because millennials didn't think about how things were going to be received both now and in the future. They just authentically expressed themselves through social media. Whereas Gen Z lives under this perpetual panopticon cringe culture of, you want to basically put out what amounts to brand safe or like corporate style content, highly curated. And I think millennials were right and Gen Z is wrong. Like I think Gen Zers are wrong and I think the millennials are right. I'd rather have somebody going up there and being cringe as fuck than somebody going on there and living their life in this permanently focus group tested, corporate, manicured, filtered, Botoxed, plastic surgeryed world. Like I hate that. Be authentic, care about things, be cringe. Who gives a fuck? But we live in this panopticon world now, and it's just like weird. I think Gen Z, it really fucked them up. And so when somebody like Ian changes, or somebody like Austin changes, or somebody like even myself or any of you. That's a good thing. That's a positive thing. But for Gen Z, they like to use people and they like to try to use social justice as a way to get interpersonal power. Did you see how Ethan Klein did that as well with the microaggressions? Like, Ethan Klein doesn't care about microaggressions and making safe spaces and helping people through trauma. He uses safe space as a punchline, as a way to get interpersonal power over Hasan. You know what I mean? And like that world, like we should never, ever, ever accept that. Like that should be socially just can't, like if somebody tries to do that to somebody, like, oh, you know, you're invalid because you're white, or you're invalid because you know, you're a man, or you're invalid because of any kind of immutable characteristic to lead the conversation. Like a Jewish person is talking about Jewish trauma. How dare you care about Palestinians? Like that's nonsense. You know, Candace Owens does not represent black people. Ethan Klein does not represent all Jewish people. Like this is just, I don't represent all white men, but nobody would say I do. It's fucking weird, man.
Was an appearance here and there on the H3 podcast to promote Creator Clash.
We're joined by my good friend iDubbbz, Ian, many people, his parent, his
AB, a producer of H3, participated in the last Creator Clash, and in a weird twist, his wife Lena is currently training for the next
they quit
Creator Clash, unfortunately getting stuck in the middle of this whole mess.
Lena's fighting in your fight, bro. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I actually can't believe that he did this. It's actually fucking unreal.
Pretty wild.
By the way, iDubbbz, Lena's fucking having a panic attack because why would you do this and not even tell her? Like, why would you invite someone on the show and do this? It's just fucking mean-spirited.
How about you just say, Lena, this is a fight between me and iDubbbz. I love you. I care about you. I want you to know that I support you doing the fight 100%. And I'm excited for you to grow as a person. And I don't want you to feel like I'm denying you this opportunity you've worked so hard for. Like, why is that so fucking hard? But Ethan Klein is such a scumbag. He can't even attempt to take the high road. He's such a scumbag. Dude, he's such a fucking loser, man.
All right, now that we got all of that out of the way, let's talk about Ethan's more recent relationship with iDubbbz. Since the start of Ethan's crash out, Ian has stayed mostly silent. Here and there, he's made a few light jabs, poking fun at Ethan's latest unhinged take, but what really pushed Ethan over the edge wasn't Ian directly. It was the Twitter activity of Froggy Tonic, a former Creator Clash editor loosely associated with Ian and Anissa.
Froggy Tonic, who is a previous editor and friend of Anissa and iDubbbz, who also, I mean, Anissa was interacting with him as far as
how does he like if I was sniffling that much, if I was like that fucking much, I would go to a doctor. I mean, sometimes I even get a little bit congested. Like, don't we all? But like, go to a doctor, dude. Unless you know why your nose is draining so much, you know? It's like, unless you have like some reason to understand why you might have some sort of like nasal drip that's kind of consistently happening during the show. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure of why that might be personally. I can do some research, but
like the same day talking to him on Twitter, she's at least on friendly terms with them.
Isn't that just Tourette's? Oh, is nasal drip and Tourette's syndrome? It kind of seems like it comes and goes, though. You know, I mean, maybe that's how Tourette's operates. I'm not a Tourette's expert, Chad. I don't want to be insensitive towards his conditions. You know what I mean? He sniffs more when he's lying. Yeah, I kind of feel like that's the case, but is that a common tick? Okay, good. Well, thank you guys for informing me on that. That's important to know. Oh boy, big news. Hasan makes it to Fox News and clip reacting to Ethan's IG story denying rape and anti-Semitism allegations. I personally think Hasan is going to help keep hurting our chances of escaping the slide into dictatorship. His radical takes, like exporting suppressed for Hamas, defending actions like kidnapping men from ships and holding them captive for years and even excusing rapes are going to seriously damage the left's credibility, especially heading into the midterms. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think the best thing that you could do is to keep lying about Hamas and Hassan and keep supporting Israelis' genocide. I think that's really helping you in Michigan. And guess what, baby? Guess what? I want you guys to know something. I want every single Ethan Klein fan and Destiny fan to know he's just gonna keep getting more and more and more popular, and your smears aren't gonna work, and they failed, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you know what's never gonna happen? Destiny's never getting unbanned from Twitch, and Dan can't stream. I'll never go on another Twitch stream again. You guys are excommunicated. You're exiled. And AOC and Bernie Sanders and Greg Cesar and all sorts of important left-wing politicians who are growing in popularity, they're going to collaborate with Hassan more and more and more. And Israel's support is going to keep going down and down and down. And you guys are going to be even more isolated. You might as well make the switch now. Make the switch to Republicans. Like, Trump's not running again. So you might as well make the switch. How long is it going to take you to make the switch? Make the switch. Why are you waiting? Come on. Go ahead and do it. Become Republicans already. Hurry up.
That froggy psychopath.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Their editor was saying psycho shit about Hila and me, calling us like baby killers and shit. And I was like, damn, bro, you're not even going to say anything? Like, what the hell?
So here's what happened. On February 18th, during a live H3 podcast episode, Ethan casually told a story about how his new dog had infected the entire family with Giardia, a fecally transmitted disease according to Ethan's own words. He emphasized that Giardia is only contracted through ingesting contaminated poop, which, unintentionally or not, led viewers to one obvious conclusion. Your family was eating each other's poop. I mean, what else are we supposed to infer?
Olive has Giardia. It's a bacterial infection in the intestines that makes you have diarrhea. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
And now Hila has Giardia.
Shut. For real?
And now I think this morning I had diarrhea.
Oh my God.
What can I do to not get it from you?
I'm trying
to, because I'm not trying to get
Can we crank the AC maybe?
Is it?
It's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop.
What Ethan saw as a harmless anecdote was to much of his audience a moment of unnecessary oversharing, and frankly, a little alarming. The public discourse surrounding Giardia Gate was heavily focused on Ethan and Hila Klein and their abilities as parents, which I mean is sort of in question. I think Ethan's story warrants at least some commentary.
I have to reiterate, it's unlikely that this even happened, but if it did, it was totally warranted. If you look at what he himself has said on the stream, there's no fucking way that if you showed that to someone at CPS, they would not be concerned enough for a visit.
Then on March 3rd, things escalated. Someone close to the family, according to CPS, made a call to Child Protective Services.
In our long career of being influencers in the public sphere, we've been swatted several times. The helicopters come, fire trucks come, police come. We, after all these years, still getting new experiences. This morning we got a visit from Child Protective Services, an anonymous call saying that they were somebody that works at the house. They wanted to report us because our kids are crawling around eating dog shit and getting viruses.
Whether CPS actually showed up at their home is unclear. We only have Ethan's word, which doesn't exactly inspire confidence. But what we do know is that on the next episode of...
Here's what I believe, chat. I believe that CPS did appear on their house. I do believe that. I think Ethan Klein has no idea who called it. I think that what he said about the parasites on his stream could make any reasonable person nervous, as you saw in his chat and the content deputy. A lot of his chatters were reacting the same way that every other chatter was reacting. I'm sure there were a number of mandatory reporters in these communities. I mean, when you have 25,000 people watching you and then people reacting to the content that have thousands of viewers on their own, like, I think there's certainly a mandatory reporters or people that might be concerned that on their own initiative would make that such a report. And the reality is Ethan also has a lot of people that are engaged in litigation with him right now, whether it's he's losing a defamation case against Brett, what was this guy's name? Kavanaugh? the billionaire. His name's Kavanaugh. He's currently being sued by his housekeeper, who would be intimately aware of the condition of the house as far as when it comes to cleanliness, and who would be motivated by spite and feelings of anger against him. And he admitted during his debate with Hassan that he didn't know, or he didn't want to say who had called CPS. So I don't think it's really fair to call it a false CPS case based on the condition. I think a reasonable person could have made that. Now, I personally don't advocate that you do that because I don't have firsthand knowledge, and I don't think that law enforcement should be used against content creators for whom I disagree. However, I don't think this CPS call was inherently fake, right? Because by spreading that message of a virulent, parasite spreading throughout his household, and the way that, we believed you. We believed him. We didn't think he was lying. First off, in California specifically, you cannot report anonymously to CPS. They will not follow up on anonymous tips or calls. In order to make a report to CPS to follow up, you must be somewhat provably the child's family or life. I mean, that might be true. That might be true. And and by the way, everybody should go ahead and hit the join button. I just did on mine. I would join or subscribe to the Leftovers H3 Reddit. I'm a big Leftovers H3 Reddit fan. I'm surprised I wasn't subscribed already. So go ahead, everybody. Make sure that you are part of this community. It's rapidly surging and growing. It's important to keep it that way. It's already the top 7% of subreddits on Reddit. Wow, pretty good.
The H3 podcast, Ethan and Neela basically had a couple's
If you use Reddit. I'm not really a Redditor. But if you do use Reddit, important to make your voice heard. I'm a nurse. If they went to a doctor and explained how their kid had possibly got infected, then the doctor would have been inclined to report them for neglect. Listen, here's the reality. When you have a puppy and you have infants in the same house, things are going to get messy. That's a difficult situation, right? But you can't just take people's words for it when an infant catches a parasite that they can only get from feces, right? You have to double check. It's the only reasonable thing to do, right? Like, it is what it is. And if it turns out that the guy with the clipboard goes and sees they live in a huge mansion in Bel Air or wherever in Beverly Hills they are, and he sees that the kids are well taken care of and things are clean, and he talks to them and says, sorry about this, but we got a report about the parasites possibly spreading to your kids, so we had to check it out. And it's embarrassing, it sucks. But it's something that, I think you should handle privately. And if there's no merit to it, I don't even know why they streamed about it. Like, they lied and said Snark called Child Protective Services on us. That's not true. They made that up.
Crash out session, experimenting with their own schizophrenic tendencies, trying to piece together any and all people who could have been responsible for this. A couple of those scapegoats being Twitch streamer
CPS is a terrible overreaction. But I think you don't understand what Child Protect. I get you. I totally agree with you about like Giardia being hard to get rid of, and it could have been spread, and there's nothing necessarily wrong. But like, also Denims. Look at Ethan Klein has helped Denims grow so fucking much. It's crazy, dude. It's fucking crazy, dude. I was talking to Denims the other night, and I was like, I'm so happy for you. I'm so fucking happy for you. Because like, I've grown tremendously as well. But I'm not really as involved in this because for some reason they've really fixated on Denims and Hassan, and I think it's psychosexual, right? They've talked shit about me a lot, but Denims has kind of like really hit the sweet spot because it's like she's completely in the right and they're totally wrong. And so I'm like, damn, like this is what makes a career. I was laughing about that. Lucky.
And former Creator Clash video editor Froggy Tonic.
How is this allowed on Reddit?
That's crazy.
2 hours, no moderation. How is this allowed? I'm losing my fucking mind.
It's just so obvious. Like, none of these people are actually worried about.
No. This is a serious fucking issue. Like this is not. This has to be dealt with. This is not normal. I had kids crawling around. Holy crap, that's dark. Poor kids deserve better. So I work in a field where I'm mandated.
Poor kids deserve better. I work in a field where I'm
a mandated reporter. If I heard this story in a setting related to my job, I would have to call CPS. Yeah, I'm a nurse. I had a pediatric patient come in and his wife. And this was with the story. I'm 100% reporting it. There's a lot of people that...
But what was I saying about CPS? CPS isn't SWAT, okay? It is a social worker with a clipboard they really, really don't want to intervene. They really don't want to take kids away. You know, if they walk into a house and the kids are you know, have bedrooms and clean bedding and they're well fed and, you know, the house is relatively clean. It doesn't have to be spotless, right? Like, it's not a hoarder house with rotting shit everywhere. It's not, you know, if it was Asmongold's house, they'd take the kids away, right? But as long as it's like got reasonable household clutter, you know what I mean? Then it's fine. But like, so, you know, listen, I had nothing to do with it, and I because I don't have firsthand knowledge, I would never advocate somebody do that. Like, if I felt like the kids were actually being neglected, I would call CPS myself, but I didn't have any reason to believe that, and so it never even crossed my mind, right? It never even crossed my mind. And the thing that really bothers me is that Ethan doesn't care what the truth is. He's just willing to lie on people. He's willing to lie on people.
Support us, but they won't say anything because they don't want to deal with the ramifications of what can only be described as like the most organized, malicious harassment campaign I've ever seen.
He had to spend long hours hunched over a laptop, ignoring his...
Bro, I live in Cali, and CPS came to my house when I was little and did a follow-up. There was definitely good reason for the follow-up. And as More Updog says, as a former social worker, who said by his own admission is enough to warrant a visit, rich people could neglect kids too. I mean, again, that's your opinion. I don't know, because I'm not a social worker. I've never worked in CPS, and I haven't been there. So this is all secondhand, you know? But from what I've seen, I don't think it's an unreasonable thing to do. And I also don't think there's any evidence at all that we encouraged it at all. We just reacted the same way his own chat reacted, which was with disgust. And he apparently lied. Like, he said, like, a lot of the things he said were true, that Gila didn't have Giardia. He didn't have Giardia. He was lying and playing up the story, and people took it at face value as being true. So, like, I don't know what he wants me to say. Like, you know, maybe don't say that kind of shit about don't try to humiliate your wife by saying she has a fecal parasite that you only get from, like, handling the shit of something that's infected. Like, don't humiliate your wife and lie about her. Like, what do you want me to say? And like, all I could say is he's just a liar, dude. But it's for interpersonal advantage, short-term advantage. It's crazy.
Children and the poop they were eating for months to deliver that powerful content puke against the most evil man to ever live.
They've been going with that basically for a long time. Oh yeah.
Again, don't assume the CPS thing was about the poop thing. We have no idea, or just speculating. Exactly. That's another factor. How do we know it was because of the poop story? We don't know what CPS was called for. We literally don't know. We haven't seen any of the reports. We haven't seen anything. He's provided no evidence. He didn't say who made the report. Like, he's just making shit up. We don't know. And we don't even know if CPS is really there. It's all his word. Like, this is crazy. And he's proven himself to be untrustworthy.
Ethan's kids roll around and eat dog shit in their house. And then Denim hosts this and see what she says. And then now we wonder why people are calling Child Protective Services.
Your dog shitting all over the house to the point where your kids are getting Giardia?
Yeah, I never said the dog shit in my house. I never said the kids are eating shit. I said Sonny crawls around. He's an infant. He puts everything in his mouth. And I speculated if it could be related, his diarrhea. Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia. You have to ingest my poop.
It's really becoming hard to do this show because it's like you can't tell any random story anymore because it becomes like content for this guy and a whole weapon against us.
I'm not going to edit myself, that's for sure. But
I know, but this is getting really difficult.
There has to be a way to hold Reddit accountable. At this point, I can't even blame the snarkers. It's just they are enabling it, they're allowing it, and as far as I can tell, they are participating in it. What the you guys? What the what do I do?
Maybe we need to make like a Instagram reel where I say what happened, post it on Instagram, post it on Twitter.
I don't think anything.
That won't work.
There's the answer is not on social media. It's with lawyers and reporters.
My lawyer can't do fucking shit, and it's driving me crazy. You know how compromised Reddit is? I haven't said this before. It's so infuriating. We got a hold of someone at Reddit a few weeks ago after everything was like peak, like max crazy. And we told them about all the snark stuff. It was a comms person, and they got back to us and they said, well, you guys are harassing people also. You're harassing people and they're harassing people, so I don't see the difference between your community and their community.
Ethan is clearly trying to deflect here, framing the entire situation as some grand H3 snark narrative.
It turned into this whole snark narrative. The man is talking about my children. He's painting me as a terrible parent, a neglectful.
I mean, the self-victimization, how do people find this appealing? Like, I don't know. Like, am I being low empathy? Tell me. Like, dude, are you okay? You're making shit up. You put that picture on your monitor, you fucking, as your desktop background. You're unhinged. I had CPS come to my house and interview my son, who spoke about past physical and emotional abuse of my ex-wife, to a psychiatrist who is required to report it. My point is that if any healthcare worker feels there is a reasonable threat to the child's safety and health, it's required to be reported. And I want that to be the case. I hope his children are doing well. I have no ill will for Ethan Klein's children. I hope they're doing well, and I hope the visit proves that they were doing well, if it even happened. But the idea that to just throw out blame on everyone else but yourself for something that you said on your stream, which could reasonably be interpreted that way, is crazy. Like, it's crazy. And I personally, can I just say something? This is my personal opinion. I think it's generally pretty distasteful when content creators use their children as props. I'm pretty uncomfortable with children in social media in general. What's up, Flapple? I find it really uncomfortable when children are in paid media, profit media in general. Now, I'm not saying I want to necessarily completely ban it, but I think it's got a lot. I personally come down on the side of it being unethical. And if I had a child like that, I wouldn't do it. I would try to maintain a certain level of separation, but maybe I would change my mind. I don't know. I mean, sometimes you want to share a family milestone, and you know, it is what it is, but it always feels risky. It always feels dangerous. And I always thought didn't Ethan used to say he would never use his children as content? I thought he would use his old shit. You know what I mean? Some people are about kids being in danger, and that's a great thing, not weirdly parasocial. Would you not call help? You help a person on stream was clearly in distress. I would intervene. I believe in intervening. My moral compass, I stand on the side that being a bystander is wrong. You know, I think that you have a moral obligation to intervene. I don't think you can stand idly by when harm it happens and be a moral person. But we also have to have humility. There's another element of that. One of the things that philosophical hypotheticals sometimes miss out on is the uncertainty of life. The fact that when you are living your life, you are inherently operating from a subjectivity, meaning you are inherently seeing from your perspective, and the information that you have is limited, and your perspective is limited. You don't have an omniscient perspective. You don't know all the details. You don't know all the situations. You don't know all the history. You're inherently trapped behind a veil of ignorance, and only glimpses of the truth come inside. And you try your best to make decisions based on the information you have, but there's going to be a lot of uncertainty, and there's going to be a lot of error. And that's how I operate in my life. I recognize that there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of error. But however, when I feel like I know something and something has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, I operate with conviction. But I'm open to change. I'm open to counter examples. I'm open to counter arguments. And I think that's the only real way to operate. So, you know, if you put that all together, I feel like if you see some harm being done, you have a moral obligation to intervene. However, you should operate from a position of humility and be circumspect and try to avoid being officious by recognizing that you don't have the full picture. Does that make sense? I think that's maturity. I think that's morality. I think that's the right way to be a person, is to limit yourself. Officious means somebody who's a meddler, who injects themselves into situations that they have no authority in and tries to act like they're in charge. It's actually a very important concept that we all know what it means, and it's a really good word. Assertive of authority in an annoyingly domineering way, especially with regard to petty or trivial matters. This is this is one of my favorite words because we all know immediately what this is. Officious. I wish more people use this word because it's like, it explains, it's Karen's basically, you know, it hits at exactly a concept, and that's like officious, like they're acting like they're official, but they're not, you know. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, what was I saying? Getting back to making fun of Ethan.
parents and saying that he's, whose claim to fame is being iDubbbz's friend and former editor, is spreading malicious, damaging rumors about me that led to the CPS being called.
But he's the one who told the internet his whole family got sick by ingesting poop. That's not a leap people are making. That's your own damn story.
It's extremely ridiculous to get. You have to ingest my poop.
Also, it's hilarious how defensive they get about their house being clean, despite the fact that Ethan literally described his entire household catching Giardia. That's not something you get from a single rogue turd.
He was checking the house and like, where do the dogs go potty? Because we heard that there's poop on the floor.
My favorite thing about Ethan Klein fans is, I don't know where he gets off, but like, he's a weird looking dude. Yet his fans are the most judgmental on looks. It's like, he who cast the first stone.
Giardia. That's not something you get from a single rogue turd.
He was checking the house and like, where do the dogs go potty? Because we heard that there's poop on the floor.
The house is spotless.
Our house is so clean.
I realized that being a father is basically just living in a world of poop. The dogs poop downstairs.
Just look at this clip of Ethan stepping on a fossilized piece of poop under his desk.
It just depends on how significantly different this is than their existing content. I mean, if it's like a huge jump up in production quality, then it'll make sense. What's happening?
The carpet from one of the dogs. It's like a super it's like a super, how do you call it? Fibery,
petrified?
Super fluffy with like strings, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously we clean our carpet.
Okay, guys, shit does not get strings on it until like, that's fungus that is growing. Like, what the fuck?
On a fossilized piece of poop under his desk.
It just depends on how significantly different this is than their existing
He's
content.
so gross, dude.
I mean, if it's like a huge jump up in production quality, then
He's the patient zero from The Last of Us. Ethan's house is like the mall from the fucking Last of Us, where there's this like hive mind fungus growing out of all the dog shit.
Then it'll make sense.
Dog shit doesn't turn white anymore since they removed bone meal from dog foods. Is that why?
What's happening?
The carpet from one of the dogs. It's like a super it's like a super, how do you call it? Fibery,
petrified?
Super fluffy with like strings, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously we clean our carpet, but I can't even see it with my naked eye. I was just passing my foot over it and felt a bump. It's old, by the way. It's hard.
As a content creator, can I make a comment on this? Yeah, so obviously he's disgusting, but this is like a psychosexual fetish because you can't see that on the camera, right? Right? Like, it's like if I had like a zit on my thigh, right? And it was like, or you know when you sometimes get like you'll get like a boil somewhere on your body, and you'll be like, oh man, that's gross, and you're like, you kind of like feel that, and you're like, ew, how do I handle that, right? You wouldn't mention that. You would just be like, oh fuck, that's gross, and you wouldn't mention it. But he points it out so that all of us have to think about the poop and how gross it is and how he touched it, and he's looking down and he's stopping the show cold just to focus on the poop and the shit. He gets off on it. He wants you to be, he gets off on making you disgusted. So it's a psychosexual pleasure. Like he's enjoying thinking about making all of his audience uncomfortable and disgusted, and that they find him disgusting. It's like a humiliation thing, I think. It's an oversharing thing and it's a humiliation thing. If you have a dog, something like this could happen. There could be some corner of your house that you don't go in. Maybe you have a guest room. Maybe you have some corner of your house that you don't spend a lot of time in on a typical day. And maybe one day the dog wasn't feeling too well and it went in that room and relieved itself. That's something that could hypothetically happen even if you're not gross. All right? I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, okay? But the reaction you should have if you come across such a fossil is immediately to clean it up instead of towing at it with your bare feet.
Gross.
By this point, the petty finger pointing reached a new level, and I'm having trouble even understanding how we got to this point so fast.
You did go in on him a little bit. You call him spineless. You said you're no friend of mine.
So what?
Well, I'm just saying, just to give the context.
He is spineless, and this just proves it. Like, what a fucking coward.
Ethan and Hila basically called Ian and Anissa spineless for not publicly denouncing Froggy, as if Ian was responsible for a former editor tweeting mean things in response to Ethan's own disgusting story, which makes no sense. There's no actual connection, no evidence, just a bunch of paranoid theorizing because someone, somewhere, reacted exactly how you'd expect after hearing a story about a child allegedly eating poop. That is what Ethan said on his podcast.
Ian sucks for the same reason right now. He could say something
spineless.
He could say something too. He has his own following.
Well, Ian knows us better than
mouth.
anyone.
He's been with us. He's seen us with our kids.
Spineless, actually.
He could say something too. If you want to
The colonizer lied.
hang out with those people and have no spine and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
She's friends with people like Denims.
I know. Yeah.
Which I'll
she's
show.
friends with
Denims
Denim.
is actually participating in this whole Child Protective Service lie.
Yeah.
Which I'll
And if
show you
you're
guys
friends with
instead.
them, then you're seeing what they're saying, right?
Oh, well, that Child Protective Service is even the worst thing. I mean, she's said worse things about you and me.
Yeah.
And I just don't see how you can be my friend and also be friends with someone like that.
Well, you can't. So I already forgot about you.
After Ethan.
And they called him spineless, and he responded by saying,
Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward. Ethan is a coward. He's a bitch-made coward.
I love this, dude. What I love about this is it's getting... I think a lot of people don't realize the level of victory that we have achieved. Like, I don't think they understand. Like, I know that there's a lot of spinning going on because Destiny and his, like, you know, cohort and Ethan, they like to spend a lot of time spinning. But the level of victory we have now, we won over iDubbbz, but that was a partial victory, right? Like iDubbbz being changed in his heart, like I think that's very important, and I'm so glad that that happened. But now he's actively starting to make anti-right-wing videos. We have iDubbbz now making anti-right-wing videos, and if we can unleash his power, even if it's like a fourth of the peak of what it used to be, we will have another major content creator doing content cops. You know who would be the greatest content cop of all time? Asmongold. The Asmongold content cop is going to happen, and we're creating a whole new ecosystem of the dark woke. I think iDubbbz could be the quintessential dark woke person. Like, I think he's like, I see so much potential for something that is happening, and like the cultural victory, like Hassan has won the like streamer struggle for who's the political streamer of the left. The answer is Hasanabi. Hasanabi is super popular on TikTok, even though he barely participates. He's got mainstream crossover with his radical positions. With my radical positions, we have mainstream crossover. It's amazing. It's awesome. Total cultural victory. I mean, people are becoming pro-China for fuck's sake. I have seen my positions I used to hold secretly, now being pushed openly by normies. I mean, it's incredible. High show speed went to China and was absolutely enraptured. And it was like his favorite. Was China his favorite place he's ever gone? Like it's amazing. We're going to watch the Fox hit piece next. We are in interesting times, chat. There's an old Chinese saying, may you live in interesting times. And it's kind of it's almost a curse, because in China, interesting times are oftentimes times of incredible suffering and change and chaos and pain. And unfortunately, we are all living in interesting times, and there is fear and there is hope, and they are in a battle right now. But all that we can say for sure is that the status quo can't continue. And that is what I have been fighting for so long. The status quo can't continue. And now that's the absolute fucking consensus of regular human beings in our society. It is not a fringe position. It is a position at the heart and soul of regular people. Do you think that that would have been possible 8 years ago? I think not. It was not China, it was Mongolia. Mongolia was his favorite place ever. That makes sense. Mongolia is pretty cool.
Then escalated things with his former friend, Ian finally felt compelled to respond.
That's not a Chinese curse. There's no Chinese literary source for that curse. You know what? You might even be right. Let me double check. Okay. Despite being widely known as a Chinese curse, there's no evidence of an equivalent expression in Chinese language and culture. And it's English literature claiming that. See? Was it Robert F. Kennedy? The Chinese curse element was likely added by Sir Chamberlain as an effective embellishment. Well, now I learned. Audio is about to be fucked because of a copyright claim. Why? What happened? Hey, Comrade Casey. What? Wait. Do you mean on the video? Also, I'm VIPing you so I can see you in the future. I said /VO, Comrade Casey. Fuck me. When I type /VI, I automatically type O. Okay, so when I'm playing it, the audio is suddenly gonna go bad. Do I need to here's what I'll do. Usually what happens, Comrade Casey, because I watch videos all the time that are let's just say disputed. And it oftentimes as long as I don't click off, it usually allows the whole original video to play. Are you concerned about my audio getting fucked? Or do you mean the audio of the thing is fucked? Like it won't play. Once in a lifetime things have happened 5 times in my life. Yeah. The phrase comes from Hugh Knockbull Hugginson, British ambassador in China, who claims to have been told about it by a Chinese. There's so many people that claim it. Oh, the video sounds like shit for 30 seconds. Okay, gotcha. That's fine. We'll handle it.
Off the recession indicator itself, Content Cop in the year 2025.
By the way, I really do like your videos, even though you're young. Even though you're young, I like your videos. So there's that. That being said, as the resident person who supports left-wing electoralism, even though I don't agree with it, I will still support those people because, of course, that's how normies get involved in politics. Like, for example, I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. AOC, when she said her dumb fucking speech, and I was furious, and I tweeted about how it's not going to work, and they're going to lose the election, I still nonetheless didn't, we're mutuals, I didn't unfollow her, because I recognize that she is going to be the future of left-wing politics in the electoral space. And so, if I want to defeat my real enemies, which are centrist Democrats, I need to at least have some sort of way of trying to influencing her to be better. And I'm going to continue to do that while looking for someone who's even better than her. So that's kind of my take on it. Is I'm never going to completely trash the most left-wing person, even when they suck shit, like she did with her pathetic fucking endorsement of Biden and her dumb fucking speech about them working tirelessly, which was totally false. So either they lied to her or she lied on behalf of them. And neither one is good, because I knew at the time it was bullshit. I was saying it was bullshit. I was saying it was obvious he wasn't. So how did she fall for it? That's what concerns me. Either she lied or she fell for it, and neither one is good. Japan is threatening to drop $1 trillion worth of U.S. bonds. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. This is our next topic. This video is so good. Actually, hold on. This is a good time to just cover this real quick.
Huge problem is developing for Trump's trade war strategy, which was to team up with the rest of the world and get the rest of the world to punish China, and out of that, get a better trade deal from China for the United States, which would then boost manufacturing. The problem is he attacked the rest of the world at the exact same time, and so now Japan.
This is what fascists always do. By the way, this is what fascists always do. They always attack in every direction. Like, one of the things that kind of like pseudo-fascist nerds online try to do is like alternative histories where like the Confederacy wins or Nazi Germany wins World War II. And one of the things they always try to be is like, why didn't they just fight Britain until they won against Britain and then try to fight the Soviet Union? And the reality is that fascists don't operate like that. If Hitler had just, tried to get Danzig and kept the Anschluss and kept the remilitarization of the Rhineland, and kept Memel, and kept, got some sort of corridor and got Danzig back. Like, he could have done all sorts of shit, made massive territorial expansions, brought Germany back in as a world power without destroying anything. But A fascist is not like that. They can't just take little wins. They have to fight a suicidal war in every direction. It's part of what fascism is. At its essence, fascism is death drive. So they just had to keep expanding and had to keep expanding because they had to fight in every direction.
Japan, which is one of our most important trade allies, is threatening that it's going to play a card that it has never threatened to play before. They are currently sitting on roughly $1 trillion in U.S. treasuries. They have historically just held those things. They buy them, they hold until they expire. When they expire, then they cash them back in, and then they get new ones. That is what a friendly ally does. It's almost like paying tribute. And the fact that we defeated them in the 1940s and then entered into this arrangement with them would lead you to believe that it actually is just basically a sophisticated version of tribute. Japan is saying that they're going to do now is they're going to start selling those treasuries. And why that would be such a disaster is that the way that we finance our spending is that we sell treasuries into the market. Countries like Japan and others go out and buy them, as do investors and regular people. The more demand there is for those treasuries, the more people that want to buy them, then the lower interest rate we have to pay. Think about it. If nobody wants to buy your bonds, then you have to offer a much higher rate of interest. Like, hey guys, I know our bonds suck, but here's 50% interest. And now all of a sudden you've got people that want to buy them, but now you have to pay a 50% interest. Now, because the US is such a strong, has such a strong economy and such a track record of paying its debts, we have historically paid very low interest rates. But if we are competing to sell our treasuries into a market where Japan and let's say Canada and the Europeans and the Chinese also do this, now all of a sudden, in order to compete with that, we have to pay a much higher rate. Now, not only does that, eat into our, expand our deficit and cause us all kinds of problems, the 10-year rate that we pay also filters out to the 30-year mortgage interest rate, and it filters out to the rate that people pay on their credit cards and basically the cost of getting capital to do anything in the United States. That means everything gets more expensive and the economy slows down. And so that is what Japan is now threatening to do if we continue to insist on punishing them with no for no reason and with no objective.
The other thing to keep in mind is, like, if they sell the treasuries, not only will it spike interest rates for the government, it spikes interest rates for everyone, thereby making our entire economy, especially expanding and investing in equities, so much less attractive. Like, my plan, you know what my plan has been, chat? Is I want to buy treasury bonds that have a higher interest rate than my student loans. And so I could basically make the government pay back my student loans. That's my goal. I'm going to make an infinite money glitch where I buy treasuries where they have a higher interest rate than my student loans. And then the government will I'll just be arbitraging my student loans. Basically, I'll have taken my student loans and then use them to buy treasury bonds. So the government will just be paying me tribute, free money. Incredible. Our country is super fucked. Like, legitimately fucked. Like, it's so annoying. Can I just say this? Like, if we had done Bernie Sanders style Green New Deal, if we had actually gone down that path and accomplished it, this country would be the most powerful country in the world for generations and generations, possibly for the foreseeable human future. But because we're doing the Donald Trump plan of destroying our economy, destroying, like, I think there was I might watch this. Adam Conover had Mark Blythe on, who's one of my favorite economists from Brown University. And he was basically talking about how we're cutting our own balls off. And it's incredible. You might have to watch that next.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Ethan, wake up.
Wakey, wakey, Ethan. Wake up, Ethan. Wake up. Time to be awake, Ethan.
Wake up, Ethan.
This is no longer a dream. This is a nightmare. Wake up.
Ethan, the dumb bitch is telling you to wake up.
Wake up.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
Ethan, wake up.
Wake up.
Dude Control, thanks for the 521s.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up, Ethan.
I'm not gonna do a react content yet, chat.
I'm the same. Nobody's telling you to wake up, Ethan.
Yummy, I love Sabra hummus.
Wake up, Ethan. Wake up.
It's wild to put your mouth on somebody else's SF7B because like you have to hold these super close to your mouth. So the amount of like spit and just like effluvia from your body that goes onto these that's nasty, dude. That's fucking nasty. Like he's got every single one of the microbes that are in Hassan's mouth. They're practically Eskimo brothers at this point.
This wasn't just a
Also, Hassan deep-throated his mic before. Oh, no.
nostalgic throwback. Ian's content cop on Ethan Klein delivers a
That's how Ian got Giardia. Oh, no.
sharp but strangely compassionate critique.
Notice how neither of them transmitted Giardia. Yeah, exactly.
On a few key points. Ethan engages in performative behavior and avoids accountability. Ethan uses his Jewish identity as a shield when it's convenient, disregarding criticism as anti-Semitism. Ethan is rude to his employees. Ethan manipulates his audience to pity him. Ethan uses the button to avoid accountability and growth. But at its core, Ian's video isn't a takedown. It's a wake-up call, a slap in the face of a former friend who's clearly spiraling. He even ends the video not with rage, but with a sincere plea for Ethan to change.
I think something that's very important to me in bringing back Content Cop is to be fair. I think that was something that was not illustrated in previous Content Cops that I think should have been and probably wouldn't have left me with so much regret. Ethan deserves all of the criticism that he's getting. I think it's very valid. But I also think, at the end of the day, we should acknowledge that he's human because he is human. And he is in a situation that's making him extremely scared, paranoid, defensive, sensitive, and I'm sure other features and feelings. In the spirit of Kirk saying that it looks like Ethan could just use a hug, I have challenged some of his most powerful haters to put down the haterade and just say something nice and charitable about him because I think he deserves it.
I just wanted to say that I respect that you are genuinely yourself on the internet. I think a lot of other people respect you for it as well. I think that's a big reason why people were drawn to your content in the first place. I think that's a lot of the reason why your employees chose to work with you over anyone else.
Ethan, I think it's respectable that you even began this journey to leave behind the anti-SJW crowd and step into a more empathetic worldview. I know it's not easy.
Ethan Klein.
I just don't believe he did that. Can we move on this? You're my first time chatter, brand new account, and you want to come in here and run, you want to help protect Ethan Klein? That's right. Brand new account. Your first message is, please stop making fun of Ethan. Please stop milking Ethan. I'm going to milk Ethan. I'm going to milk Ethan until I'm a top 100 streamer in the fucking world. How's that? How's that? When I have a 10K average, then I'll stop milking Ethan. How's that?
I think that when you are being goofy, when you're being silly.
Check DMs? Okay. Oh, okay. Tiny, you and I need to hop onto a call. I want you to keep that under wraps for now. And we're going to figure out, we're going to do something better with that. All right? Just hold. It's very important. That's something that's so good. Okay. We need to do more. We need to do something with that. Okay. We need to do something more than just me watching it on stream. So hold. We'll figure it out. We're not going to sit on it too long. Like I'll message you after stream. Anyway, let's keep going.
When you are being lighthearted and just having fun with your friends, I think that is when you're at your best. So I'd love to see more of that. That'd be sick.
I will be reading my letter off because I don't want to sound robotic. H3 used to be the sports for good that I used to watch. I hope that one day gets back to what I remember. You were one of the inspirations for me to start creating content, so all this has stunk. I hope you really hear this, and I wish.
Can I say something? Can I say something? And it's I really like that these people did this, but I gotta be honest, with my experience in life with people like Ethan, the only thing that ever knocks them out of their fucking spiraling is the rod. It's the stick. It's not the carrot. Like he feels like he's bullying you. He feels like he's hurting you. He's not gonna stop until he's bleeding out of the corner of his mouth. And I get it. I want to be empathetic. Like, I understand the value of empathy. I understand the value of trying to reach out to someone, but somebody like Ethan, he needs to see some stars before he's gonna fucking back down, you know? And so I just would not do this. Like, and I know that a lot of them have since come out and said, well, that didn't work because they legitimately tried. And so I don't think that they were wrong to try this. It's just with people like Ethan Klein, until he feels the pressure, he's not going to stop. And it's why I've spoken out against, like, you know, I've said stuff about the crew that some people disagree with, and I totally understand why. And I respect you for that. I really do respect it. But I think part of the reason why Ethan Klein feels so comfortable is because he's not getting enough pushback in his inner circle. If his inner circle were like rebelling and mutinying, like, he would probably have stopped this a while ago. But the fact that they're allowed to just get a pass means that Ethan feels comfortable. You got to step up the pressure, you know? It's like, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. When you're doing a strike, chat, you form a picket line. And everybody who goes out on strike, they grab their placards, they grab their signs, they grab their bullhorns, and they walk the picket line and they say, work stoppage. You know, we want, you know, fair pay, time off, whatever. Like, they have their demands, right? They have a picket line. If you work at that company, if you're a member of that union, if you believe in the things they believe in, you cannot go to work. And if you do, you're a scab. And so when there is a picket line at your job and it's a strike that's been voted on and there's a properly constituted picket line and your democratically elected union leaders say, hey, we're on strike, stop work, and you don't, you're a scab. And you will be socially ostracized. You will be, people do not forget, they do not forget people who cross picket lines. That is a lifetime scarlet letter that you will wear with shame, and you will be despised forever and always. I think we need to form that up on Ethan. I think we need to have that kind of attitude where don't collaborate with this guy, don't interact with this guy, don't support him, don't work for him. And anybody who does is persona non grata. We've got to put the squeeze on this guy because he's trying to deplatform us. And we tried being nice. We tried having conversations. We tried having debates. We tried constructively reaching out. Now we've got to put the squeeze on him. EDS, boycott, divest, sanction. That's the only thing that he's going to understand. You tried the carrot. He spat it in your face. I'm always the first. I'm always the first to say stuff like this. I'm always the earliest. It is my curse to make people feel that, to be abrasive, to be confrontational. I'm sorry. It's just the way I am. I am normal and kind in regular life, and I actually do believe in reaching out and forgiving people. I am not an inquisitor. However, I am brutally honest and blunt. And this is the way it's going to be. He's aligning himself with Asmongold. He's aligning himself with Destiny. He means harm to you and me.
Be the best.
I think Ethan Klein rocks a buzz cut pretty good, and I think he's got a good choice of facial hair. I think it's really cool what he did 8 years ago, fighting that frivolous lawsuit. That was pretty fucked up, and fighting it, he changed YouTube for the better. And I thought that was cool because I thought it was like he was fighting for free speech.
And in a stroke of brilliance, Ian dropped the video at the exact moment Ethan went live on the H3 podcast, ensuring the reaction would be captured in real time.
Well, what happened? There's
look
more
what
bad
Vito
news.
got me. We got, looks like dried cherries, figs, assortment of cheeses. We got a little bit of salami, maybe some crackers. Oh, you got pickle nails. Yeah. Did you guys see Vio's nails? She got pickle themed nails. They're like textured and everything. I've been calling her the pickle pervert. I've been calling her the pickle pervert because she got the pickle nails. And it's very funny. Something I'm upset about that I feel like hasn't been brought up was Ethan Ahila claiming Israel doesn't target journalists because practically a day after that, Israel assassinated Hossam Shabbat. I mean, Israel has killed more journalists than any war since World War II. I don't think people understand the scale of that. Like, World War II, we're talking about 50 million deaths, if not more. I'm going off the top of my head, but it's like, do you know what 50 million dead means? Like, I mean, it's fucking crazy. 80 million. Yeah, okay, thank you. 80 million. Do you understand what that fucking means? That's like the amount of whole scale violent death that we're talking about is insane. And to kill more journalists since any conflict since that is crazy. You have to be targeting them. Democrats cautiously open door to another Harris run in 2028. I want this to happen. I want this to happen. I want this to happen. I want it to happen. If AOC is going to win, this is the only way. This is the only way she wins, because Kamala Harris is so bad at this. And she'll force AOC to go more to left and more confrontational, and it will scare a lot of other centrists out of the race. This is my dream. AOC versus Harris would be fucking based. She would lose so badly. Holy God.
I do have some more bad news for you. Some breaking news. Your old friend iDubbbz just released a video.
Yeah.
It's about you.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God. That is no, it can't be.
Well,
this little bitch called them bitch-made cowards, and they said they're not his friends and that they're scum. And then he acts all hurt when he gets both barrels back. You see the stick.
It actually can't be. Holy f, dude.
It sure is.
Oh my God.
Look at the fear.
Holy f.
And from a quick scrub through, I think, well, it's going to be a little spicy.
Check the description.
Oh my God. Like what? Like what? Why? What would I do to like fucking, like what kind of fucking, like, bro, what kind of cowardly bullshit is this? Like, we have one disagreement where I get upset.
How is it cowardly to put an aggressive video against you immediately? How is that cowardly?
Because you guys aren't defending me publicly after everything I've done to support you guys, and like you bring on people who are fucking denims and Frogan, who did a fucking anti-Semitic tier list, and you're platforming them? I am genuinely in disbelief. And by the way, I know all the criticism that all these people level against me, and there's no shot that this video holds any fucking water. I'll watch the whole thing. I don't give a fuck.
Ethan, of course, has been gloating about the fact that he reacted to it instantly.
I hope people let him know how it's done. When Ian dropped the video about me, I opened it, live streamed it immediately. That's what's called accountability, and that's what's called believing in yourself.
But before hitting play, he spent a good while ruminating on the idea, even calling Hila and having her come over as soon as possible, while his employees frantically scrubbed the video to find parts they should avoid.
I can't believe how fucking insane this is.
Didn't they skip a whole section?
I'm gonna watch it live.
Should you? I feel like you're gonna get really emotional and say something you regret.
Well, I've got the button. I don't need to fucking pre-watch this. I don't need someone else to hold my hand through it. Like, I'm ready to take on anything that these people have to say about me. She's on the way?
Oh yeah, she said she's coming to the office. She's leaving the house now, she said.
Oh, about this?
Yeah.
Oh, she's gonna be pissed, bro.
Should we wait to talk about it, or you want to talk about it now?
I suggested that.
I think we should.
Go ahead, you can suggest. I'm open to suggestions.
Just in terms of like it being in the moment, maybe do we want to watch it off and then?
And now he's forcing this conversation to continue and platforming this group of fucking psychopaths, minus Kirk, legend. Let's do a poll. I see people are. I can do it now.
They're gonna say watch. They're gonna tell you to watch.
There's no point for a poll.
Well, let's see. I'm curious. They could say watch.
I just think, you know.
Well, if Hila's coming.
Fuck, I love this dude. Can I just say my man North Star Radio is the best? We're turning on the bell at this point.
We should do it off stream. Because I feel like, I don't know, this escalated initially because we were live and you guys were heated about, I forget what it was, but.
This is so fucking awesome. Yeah, I did see that splash job. The only policy that I have about Bad Empanada is I like to reflect a little bit more when I show his content. Just I give it a stutter step. I love this man. I love Bad Empanada. I'm pro Bad Empanada. I'm probably the most pro Bad Empanada person on the entire internet. That being said, I am my own content creator, so I have to like be aware of my own shit and like make sure that what I show and what I do is considered. He's like my id. No, I am. I'm a bigger fan. I've been a fan of Bad Empanada before you were even around. I've been watching him for years. Don't even start. Like when I was fighting Vosh 5 years ago, Bad Empanada and I were fighting him together. Okay, like please stop. Okay, but I appreciate you fighting for the title. That being said, think about Bad Empanada. I think of him as my id, which is your id is these deep-seated yearnings and impulses that you have, and you have to. That's not the person that you want to be. He's my political id. You're my personal id. Vio is very offended because I say that Vio is my id, and then I said Bad Empanada is my id, and I'm cheating on you with Bad Empanada. Yeah, I mean, is there a person who's hotter and sexier than Bad Empanada? I don't think so. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Unless, you know how everybody's like, "What's your hall pass?" Like, what's your hall pass? For me, there's no sexier man. I mean, look at that beard, dude. Look at the piercing gaze. Okay. Okay, I'm kidding. Okay, let's end this bit. Starving you from now on? Oh, come on.
You're coming here because of this content cop? Okay.
I told you.
Your thoughts on this so far? I mean, we're debating if we should watch it or not.
Yeah, a normal amount of food, exactly.
Let's do the poll. Let's see like how much percent yes it is.
Should Ethan watch the IDub videos, just yes or no?
I can't believe I'm on the phone with a Zionist baby killer, Elon.
Yeah, I know.
Me neither.
On YouTube, of his fan channels re-uploading, like every time he's talked about us, 41 videos. 41 videos about me in the past 30 days. 41.
This is a substantial amount.
It's so funny when people like Destiny and Ethan Klein complain about me or Hassan or anybody responding to their bullshit. They're so used to like attacking people and those people folding. It's like, you came in the political space. I was born in the political space. I'm built for this. You're not built for this. The Republican Party attacked me with $1 million fucking dollars in 2014. You ain't shit. You ain't fucking shit. I was born in this. Come in. You're locked in here with us. You think you're gonna come into political space and out harass? You're gonna harass a political content creator and they're gonna fold? Are you stupid? We've been fighting these fascists for years. We've been fighting Destiny and his ilk for years. You think you can measure up? You're crazy. You think this is bad now? It's just getting started, man. It's just getting started. Like, you're crazy. And this is the reality of it, is it's like, you come in here, you harass people, you slander people, you defame them, you ally yourself with Dan Saltzman and Destiny, you ally yourself with Asmongold, and you think you're going to be called progressive after that? You think people on the internet who care about politics are going to listen to you and treat you like a fucking Democrat? You're crazy.
A lot of those are just like re-uploads of the same clips, right?
All right, let me just get to that part at least. The fact that you want to associate with these people openly is so fucking sick. Holy shit, dude. When Ian dropped a video about me,
literally, you are so lucky. Like, Ethan is so stupid. He could have just been a David Pakman, which is be a silent Zionist. Just shut the fuck up about the conflict and just make your anti-Trump videos and just be quiet. But no, he's too stupid.
I opened it, live streamed it immediately.
Eventually, he started watching, cautiously, painfully cautiously, pausing every few seconds, often unable to muster a coherent response.
He's so zany, you guys. Remember how zany and cool iDubbbz is? He's doing karate and cool. He's being silly in a fucking cabin. Look at him go. Yeah. Yeah. Bro, just to give you an idea, he puts this here.
Yeah,
this
I know.
is like a extremely rare dunny that we gave them. This is like ancient lore stuff, but like we made a special one just for them. Like actual friendship stuff. It's pretty nuts.
You said you didn't want them to be like, you attacked them first. Do you not remember what you said?
Is this funny?
And I find it pretty funny. It gets really funny next. Wait, did he scrub over the fucking of the dunny?
Is that funny?
Out of a 3-hour podcast, he made it only 17 minutes into the video. The only thing Ethan really threw at Ian was a mix of name-calling and petty mockery. He was so stunned by the whole situation, he couldn't even form a coherent defense, just flailed around, clearly thrown off and grasping for anything that might stick.
Bro, you literally look like a fucking free tattoo pack that you get for 25 cents from a windy thing, bro. Like literally my kids have cooler fucking tattoos from Chuck E. Cheese. And people go, oh, Mr. No, listen, that's right. I'm going after his tattoos. Bro looks like he just went to the menu and was like, I'll take that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Cringe, bro. I'm kidding, by the way. People are going to be like, this is all he had to say? I don't think this is going to be hard to react to at all. I mean, so far, this is just pathetic.
H3 content cop, iDubbbz. Ethan Klein's out of control. And then you should do a content cop on Hassan Piker. Content cop on Sargon of Akkad. If I would imagine this.
He did his silly accent. I
mean,
guess.
that is exactly right, though.
The moment I saw this man in a mullet covered in fucking Chuck E. Cheese 25-cent tattoos, I got concerned for him.
In the following episode, Ethan reacted to the full thing, donning a suit in remembrance of his former friend.
Today, we approach this episode somberly. I've dressed up as I'm, unfortunately, will be attending a funeral for a friend today.
But what was meant to be a big dick move on the part of Ethan, watching the content cop on stream after its release, he goes on to admit to pre-watching the entire video the night before.
Can we now say, because last night we did make sure we finished the video and watched everything, there was not even one mention of CPS.
And although he now proudly claims to have watched every pixel,
I immediately went and watched it live. Because I want people to know just how unafraid I am of this video.
He conveniently skipped over the section about being a terrible boss.
Let's talk about the crew. I think the crew
Let's not talk about the crew. So I vowed.
He's so scared of the crew standing up to him. That's why it's so misguided to give the crew space to be scum. It's so fucking misguided.
That I'm not even going to comment on the crew part. Obviously, if anybody wants to, they're welcome to, but I just want to keep the crew out of it, actually.
We're going to skip forward to like 45
there you
or something.
go.
Yeah, where does it... So just...
Cowardly.
Just to say that, so they can't say I'm avoiding criticism, the most biting thing in there is the button where the button didn't work and I'm speaking harshly to AB. So, you know, like... That was one instance where I was speaking harshly to AB and we were having a real world workplace experience. I don't even think it's really that big of a deal.
His response, if you can even call it that, was light on substance. Mostly whining, deflection, and one especially telling moment where the context of a clip was clear as day and Ethan and Hila still pretended they didn't understand it.
They claim that Hila... if you read online about her, the claim is that Hila says children are trained to hate Jews from birth. What is their evidence?
Rudy was saying that Palestinians are taught at 2 years old to kill Americans.
Do we have that one?
Like their evidence is Hila doing I mean.
And I don't even remember what, like sometimes there's multiple conversations happening at once here. I don't even remember where this was going. Like this was our post-election stream, right? Where we were all... Yeah.
There was lots of chatter back and forth. That's the podcast.
She did it right in AB's face, too. An Arab man.
of a
Yeah.
stream when we were like, okay, Trump won.
So at any rate,
I don't even remember what, like.
So once again, world building on this.
Yeah.
This is their fucking evidence for this
Palestinians are-
insane claim, by the way, this extraordinary claim that Ela thinks kids are trained to hate Americans by the age of 2. Pretty extreme claim. The evidence should be pretty extreme.
They're taught at 2 years old to kill Americans.
Do we have that
I
one?
mean,
Like,
I mean,
checkmate.
yeah.
I mean,
Where does it go from there? Like, I don't say anything. I don't.
can you imagine somebody saying something really unhinged about Israelis? You know what I mean? And me going, I mean, and smirking, and how they would react. Like, imagine.
Don't know what.
Let's watch it on
The
filter.
movement of not voting is so funny to me. Especially by people pro-Palestine, because if Trump gets elected,
He's the most pro-Israel president of all
it's
time.
not good.
The context is Ela's fucking defending Gaza because people like Hassan pathetically voted for Jill Stein instead of Kamala Harris and say things as dumb as this.
Hypothetical reality where...
by the way, it's since come out, which we covered earlier, that the former Obama staff were talking about how Biden put no pressure on Israel and Kamala Harris said she wouldn't do anything differently. So this point is fucking stupid. You're disproven. You're disproven. Kamala Harris would have done nothing differently.
Or Kamala Harris would not be as bad as Donald Trump, which we have no proof for.
That's insane.
There's really nothing of substance in this episode, even though they had all day before to write up a substantial response. It's mostly just Ethan whining for hours, circling the same tired points without offering anything meaningful or new. But the 2 React episodes got a combined 3 million views, so I'm sure Ethan was happy to live his former glory. Ethan's biggest rebuttal, if you can even call it that, was that Ian left out several things from his video.
Now I have here a list of things that iDubbbz left out of the video that I think are important.
So, a few days later, still spiraling, Ethan tried to recapture the magic of his old H3H3 Productions
By the way, we
days.
don't like Jill Stein. We said PSL. Like, I think we talked mostly about PSL as the alternative. We don't like Jill Stein. Jill Stein is a grifter. We all know that Jill Stein and the Green Party is not real in America. They're just trying to get federal matching funds. We don't like Jill Stein. She's also not even really a socialist. PSL is the Party of Socialism and Liberation. It's another third party. I mean, they didn't have a chance either, but like the idea, no one would ever say vote for Jill Stein. She's a fucking grifter. Like, we know.
And released a response video on the main channel. A video that absolutely did not need to be made given how lost for words Ethan was
PSL
on both H3 podcast episodes. But hey, it got over
By
a
the way,
million.
and Hassan invited me on his stream on election day. And when I saw she was losing, I said, fuck Kamala Harris. I voted PSL in front of 200,000 people. So the idea, so if you are trying to cancel Hassan, you're an asshole. He was always open to my arguments. He always listened to everything. He's always been, the thing about Hassan is he doesn't punch left. He takes punches from the left, but he doesn't punch left. The only thing he punches at are rad libs or woke of the day, which is not the same thing. Those people are not left wing.
Views, and that's all that matters to Ethan.
A few days ago, my good friend
That's how I
Ian,
feel.
also known as iDubbbz, released a content cop about me. His video's over an hour long and it's full of a lot of accusations. We watched the entire video, every frame of it, responded to every accusation on the podcast, and a really long episode. We watched the whole thing, so if you're interested in a more thorough response to everything, I would recommend watching this episode.
Ethan's entire reason for making this video hinges on the fact that Ian didn't mention the alleged CPS call anywhere in his hour-long takedown of Ethan Klein, which isn't exactly shocking considering the supposed CPS call is completely irrelevant. Let's not forget, we don't even know if a call to CPS was ever made, yet Ethan is outraged simply because Ian very loosely associates with people like Denims and
Did you
Froggy
say Soft Takes video on Gila Klein? I didn't. Is it good? This is the new North Star Radio. By the way, can I say one thing about North Star Radio? The voice is butter. Our friend Comrade Casey. The voice is so good. That's a big part of your popularity is you deliver this in such a satisfying way. I'm glazing right now. I'm very happy with some of the new creators that are popping up, like Comrade Casey. I got to figure out how to be more social. I got to bring more social in my socialism. You know, I got to be more social with other creators because I'm very prickly because I was one of the first people that was here and I got stabbed in the back a lot when I was, well, you know, when it was just me and Hassan, basically. Like, we got stabbed in the back by so many liberals. You have no idea. So, you know, we're a little bit gun shy on who we let into the circles. You can't be social if you constantly have a bad cop demeanor. I mean, I don't think that's true. Mike, you've been saying this for a while now that you're going to change my tactics. I already have. I'll come on the show. Hell yeah, brother. Let's do that. Just send me a time you want to come on. Or if you don't, I will. Be a man. But yeah. Be a man. Come on. No, it'll be good. It'll be good. I'm going to be improving. I'm actually legitimately working on a lot of stuff, not just saying I'm working on it. So I am changing my tactics.
Who Ethan believes encouraged the call.
The video that I'm making today, however, I don't need an hour for, because there's really just one central point that I want to make here. My good friend Ian, in his hour-long takedown, did not mention one time Child Protective Services. Not one time. In the entire video, he never says CPS. No mention, no explanation, no overview, nothing. Zero mentions of CPS. He doesn't explain why I'm upset, who I'm mad at, why I'm mad at them. Zero context. I am just an anonymous screaming lunatic. I was particularly angry during this episode entitled Snark Called CPS on Us, because I hold denims to be one of the primary reasons, in my opinion, why CPS was called.
Notice why he said, in my opinion, because he's trying to avoid getting sued for defamation by saying denims is the reason why CPS was called. He's saying my opinion to try to avoid a defamation claim, but it's not going to work, because a reasonable person would say that you are averring that she did that as a fact.
Another one of their friends, Froggy Tonic, had been spreading the same malicious rumor about me on Twitter for days before CPS
Change
was
the
called.
size of your camera feed. I'm working on it. I literally am.
As well.
Not only is there zero evidence these people incited any.
You know what's so funny about this? Denims is like getting the best advertising you could possibly get. Amazing.
One to call CPS, but Ian's not responsible for the actions or beliefs of internet acquaintances. They're mutuals, nothing more. This whole video is hilarious because it brings nothing new to the table. It barely.
I didn't know your live weekends, and I'm not normally. It's my birthday weekend. I need more subscribers. I'm not even at 7,000 anymore.
Addresses Ian at all. It's basically a recycled version of the same rant about denims that he already posted to the Ethan Klein channel
Irish Reese, thank you so much, sir, for the 20 tier 1s. You're the best.
Weeks ago. Ethan basically tries to claim that the entire basis of GR.
I gotta grind myself up to 100,000 followers. Oh, it's so hard, man. Followers on Twitch is so fucking hard, man. It's such a grind, dude. Because of when I stream, nobody else is live when I go live. It's fucking rough. Happy birthday. Thank you, chatters.
Gate was fabricated by fanatic H3 Snark lunatics, leading to CPS showing up at his door.
Me, when my 3 kids ask me why they haven't seen me in the past 4 months, I was in my basement. How can you shun a fallen fan when they worry about their 3 kids when they can't be bothered to protect their dogs? Ethan was neglectful with his dogs. He's already been neglectful with his kids, and he will continue to be. As a child of a neglectful, bipolar, narcissistic dad, that's precisely why I worry about Ethan's kids. I explained it on the podcast, but the truth of the matter is, it's all a lie. It's all wrong. The man is talking about my children. He's painting me as a terrible parent, a neglectful parent, and saying that he's...
No. My birthday was yesterday. But birthday weekend in this house.
Claim to fame as being iDubbbz's friend and former editor, is spreading malicious, damaging rumors about me that led to the CPS being called. Which, by the way, Ian does not explain one time.
But let's be real. If anyone's responsible for drawing the attention of CPS, it's probably Ethan Klein himself. He's spent countless hours on stream openly discussing his children's health, even speculating on what disease they have and how they got sick in front of tens of thousands of live viewers.
Sonny's crawling around. He's putting everything in his mouth. He's at that age. He has Giardia. Sonny went to the doctor today to get a poop evaluation, but I'm pretty sure he has it because the symptoms is like frequent and then extremely foul smelling diarrhea. It happened last night in the middle of the night. I walked into his room, he was crying, and I was immediately struck by the foulest his whole room was just wafting and the foulest diarrhea smell.
Some interesting notes from this video. Ethan once again focuses on Bad Empanada, who played a video game where you play as Hamas. Bad Empanada is clearly just demonstrating the hypocrisy when nearly every video game is from the perspective of American soldiers killing Arab people in the Middle East.
If you're wondering who the guy is she's watching, his name is Bad Empanada. And as far as harassment campaigns go, you'd think that Ian, as someone who cares so deeply about it, would be talking about him and not me. Here's
Bad Empanada. What a dreamboat.
Small taste.
I'd like to pay tribute to Ethan Klein and the new Twitch TOS that declares Zionism. Zion is the slur. I'd like to pay tribute to him by playing the first in Al-Aqsa video game where you kill Zionist soldiers as a Palestinian resistance fighter.
Ethan goes on to get baited by a hilarious Bad Empanada video, which Ethan only made funnier in the edit.
I love him so much, dude. How can you not love this guy? He's so funny. Chat, we are having a hype train right now. The top sub gifter and the top bit donor get the hype train conductor badge next to their name. That's a golden locomotive. Wow. You'll be a leftist and you'll have a golden locomotive next to your name. Wow. I don't know about you, but every leftist I know loves trains, and you'll be able to show your love of trains in the chat. Wow. It's so true. It also really helps us out because it promotes us in the algorithm. Twitch really likes hype trains. You may not have known this, but Twitch likes to steal a large portion of my money and keep it. So whenever you have hype trains, it means Twitch is making money. So Twitch goes, oh, we like streams with hype trains, and they juice me in the algorithm. So that's why I like to do my shill and try to get a nice big fat hype train, because the more hype trains we get, the more Twitch is like, you know, who watches Hasan? Here, watch Mike. Ooh, who watches Dead Ups? Watch Mike. Ooh, you should watch Mike. I'm trying to get in the, you know who I need to siphon viewers from? The only Canadian I like, Northern Lion. Northern Lion. Oh, I like Liv too. Fuck. Good point. Good point. I like Liv too. Fuck. You hit the IG stories 5 minutes ago? You fucking loser. He doesn't get it. Wake up, Ethan. Rob Rousseau is cool too. I like a lot of Canadians. I was lying. My brother has ruined 2 relationships because the partner wouldn't answer whether they have ever done a train or not. Your brother has a small penis. Absolutely bodied with historical facts. Their only response is to call me a racist. They sure as hell can't say I'm wrong about the facts. The fucking anti-Semitic Arabs forced Jews to become Zionists. Now, I honestly made that sound not as bad as it actually was. He was saying that all Arabs are anti-Semitic. The way I wrote it, it sounds like I just meant the anti-Semitic people who are Arabs. No, he meant Arabs are anti-Semitic, and they forced Jews to become Zionists. I kind of butchered it a little bit in his benefit. No, he's doubling down on mega racism. Also, everybody, make sure you are following. If you use Reddit, make sure you join Leftovers H3. Leftovers H3 is an important subreddit. Get in there and start commenting and start posting. And anytime you see me talking about Ethan Klein, you should throw it in there. Like, I do not chill myself on Reddit, which is, I don't know why I don't do this kind of shit. Everyone else does it, but I don't. However, if you do it, it's more authentic. I am pro Leftovers H3. They've been deleting my post? Really? Is there a mod who hates me? That would be weird. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. It happens sometimes. I don't really recognize any of these people.
Today was pretty bad, wasn't it? Really sucked for you. You were so disappointed. The betrayal of one of your closest long-term friends, huh?
No, they aren't deleting you. It's probably just double posted or something. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I like it. Honestly, I wouldn't even care if somebody hates me there. I just like that subreddit.
Tick-tock, though, Ethan. Tick-tock, because this was just a taste. This was just a small part of what we have organized for you. It's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse, Mr. Klein. just waiting in misery, in fear of what we have in store for you.
By the way, Bad Empanada's not lying. This is the thing that's so awesome. He's not lying. He's not just making shit up. There's more in store for Ethan.
Tick-tock goes the clock.
This entire video reads like it was edited by an H3 hater, not by Ethan Klein himself. The whole thing is just really sad, I'm gonna be quite honest. Surprisingly, as I'm writing this script, Ethan has followed up his first response video with yet another response video, not on the H3 Productions channel, but the infamous Ethan Klein channel. This time, promoted with a stern, fact-adjacent headline, they used a swastika on purpose. This video is unintentionally perfect, because it flawlessly proves Ian's point. Every behavior Ian called out in the content cop, Ethan hits them all on cue, using his identity as a shield, launching unhinged schizophrenic harassment campaigns, and playing the eternal victim of anti-Semitism. During Ethan's reaction to the content cop, he noticed something about the sword Ian was holding in several photos.
They had a sword that looked like a swastika in the video. I know it was an anime thing, but maybe we'll be a little more careful.
I said that this morning too.
Let me pull that up. I know that the chances that they did on purpose is close to zero, right? So I'm not accusing them.
So I guess he felt the need to make a video out of it. Because trust me, this shit is gonna get played out for months.
Hey guys, Ethan here. I never thought in a million years that these people, as much as I dislike them, would intentionally include a swastika in a call out. I really wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. But if you watch this entire video, you will come to the same conclusion I did, which is that this is almost certainly an intentional dog whistle. These guys knew exactly what they're doing.
This whole video is so pointless and easily explainable if you're not disintegrating from the inside from a bad case of Giardia. And no, it's not a Nazi sword. It's from an anime. Swastikas were around long before the Nazis. They're not the same symbol, and Ethan knows that. Hassan definitely knows that, considering...
I mean, it's from Bleach. It's from the specific sword. It's like a Buddhist thing. It's specifically not a swastika. It doesn't look like a swastika. It's going counterclockwise. He's just making shit up. Has nothing to do with Nazi Germany. Not at all. Amanji, yeah. It has absolutely fucking nothing to do with it. In fact, it's pretty, honestly, anti-Asian racism. It's like, and it's also bigoted against Buddhism. It's like anti-Buddhist bigotry to even claim there's any connection to Nazi Germany. He's such a fucking bigot, dude.
How often he gets falsely accused of anti-Semitism. When you have no actual defense, you reach for the only weapon left, crying anti-Semitism over and over until your audience is too tired to fact-check you, which is exactly what Ian criticized him for, and somehow Ethan thinks doing it again is a valid rebuttal. At its core, after making several videos on the topic, Ethan never made a response video. It was a tantrum. Ethan's reaction to Ian's content cop is less about correcting misinformation and more about deflecting, projecting, and spiraling in real time. Ian called out Ethan for using his identity as a shield, for ducking accountability, and for launching obsessive harassment campaigns against people he disagrees with. And instead of proving any of that wrong, Ethan spent hours across multiple videos doing exactly what Ian described. He cries anti-Semitism at every turn, fixates on people Ian barely knows, and paints himself as the victim of a grand conspiracy, because actually addressing the criticism would require some self-awareness. The majority of Ethan's response isn't even about the actual content of Ian's video. It's about the fact that Ian made one at all. He can't believe someone he once considered a friend would dare criticize him, so he turns that betrayal into content, because that's what Ethan does now. Repackage personal grievances as righteous outrage, and hope the audience doesn't notice the cracks forming beneath him. Ian's content cop didn't cancel Ethan. It didn't ruin his reputation. It held up a mirror, and Ethan, true to form, punched it. So now we're...
I want iDubbbz and Ethan to fight. What would it take to get iDubbbz and Ethan to fight? A boxing match. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. We can each put up $1 million. Come on, come on, come on, come on. But it has to be 12 rounds, no helmet. Professional weight gloves. I don't want any 5 or 6 round amateur shit. I want 12 rounds. No helmet, light gloves. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. No one can throw in the towel. No TKOs.
Left watching the fallout. A man once known for his self-awareness, now stuck in a feedback loop of denial, calling everything anti-Semitic and doing exactly what he was criticized for, but
None
louder.
of you could currently go. I've boxed before. I couldn't go 3 rounds right now because it takes. You have to be aerobically fit. Boxing is the most exhausting shit you'll ever do in your life.
Thank you for watching North Star Radio. Peace and love. Free Palestine.
What a video. We love North Star Radio. We love Comrade Casey. If you're not fucking subscribed, if you're not liking, if you're not commenting, I feel like I understand it now. Totally explained. I was in wrestling and 3 1-minute periods with gas. Yeah, no shit. Most people can't endure a 3-round fight. Yeah, no shit. Fighting is not comfortable. Whatever you imagine about yourself fighting, if you've never fought, you know you would not. No, you would not. When you see a professional boxer, they are in such extreme shape, you can't even understand it. All right, chat. We've got Fox News hit piece on Hassan. And by the way, thank you for all the subs. You guys are the best. He's getting glazed in the New York Times, and he's getting a Fox News hit pieces. Do you guys think this is bad for Hassan? Do you actually think this is bad for Hassan? The more he gets boosted by the right, the more the people who are polarized against the right wing are going to support Hassan. This is what these fuckers are so stupid about. The more hate posts Fox News makes, the more he's going to be beloved by anti-Trump and anti-Fox News people, you dumbasses.
News baby girl, I don't care. That don't mean nothing, dude. Let me guess. It's another smear.
We'll do Mark Blythe in a minute.
Operation. Let me guess. Like on the main channel or where? Or is it on the digital side? Because I don't see it. I don't see it on my like on the actual live channel.
Haters
Wait,
are just
really?
your
What are
biggest
they
fans,
doing?
honestly.
Oh, let's go. Okay, I do care about that. That's funny.
One more point.
There's a scene from Private Parts. Hold on. Howard Stern's Private Parts.
The average radio listener listens for 18 minutes. The average Howard Stern fan listens for, are you ready for this? An hour and 20 minutes. How can that be? Answer most commonly given, I want to see what he'll say next.
All right, okay, fine. But what about the people who hate Stern?
Good point. The average Stern hater listens for 2.5 hours a day.
But if they hate him, why do they listen?
Most common answer, I want to see what he'll say next.
The hate listening, hate watchers, they're some of our biggest supporters. And I fucking love it. You guys have no idea how awesome it is when your enemies try so hard and fail. If there's one thing that's going to give you an ego in this world, it's when people with power and money try to hurt you and fucking fail. And you're just like, oh, that was your best shot?
From AOC saying, oh, there's all this money coming in to conflate criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism.
Let's go.
I am sorry. After October 7th, this is not about criticism of Israel or the Israeli
let's
government.
go. I think I'm going to go to jail, by the way. That's like, okay. This might actually cause me to go to jail.
I think, by the way, chat, can I pause it for a second here and just say Hassan is finally catching up to me. And I'm not trying to like get you guys to give me a bunch of money, although that would be nice. I do think there is a chance that if things spin the wrong way, certainly we might have to leave the country. It is what it is. I'm not scared of that happening. But it's certainly on the radar. They haven't really gone after people who are posting yet. Like content creators, like large content creators, they've mostly focused on college campuses and using colleges to go after people. But you certainly should be aware of it, right? You certainly should be aware of the risk. So, you know, I'm aware of that risk. Let's just put it that way.
Key, but high key.
Genocidal slogans about the Jewish state.
Yeah.
They talk about intifada glowingly. They support Hamas, a genocidal terrorist
I might literally
group with
be
American
going to
blood
jail
on their hands. It is a fallacy to pretend, oh, we can't criticize the government of Israel. That is not the issue here.
Congratulations to all my haters, bro. You did it. All the liberals.
At least the nickname fits. Piker.
What does that mean?
Definitely a piker, this guy.
So, you know, Lauren, I feel like there's been almost a theme here throughout these last hour and a half, and is that the Democrats are still trying to find a direction. They're still trying to find someone. And it's just so surprising, some of the people who are floating to the top.
Did you see, so maybe a month ago.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. Piker's just like, it just means like a small scale gambler. It doesn't even really mean, it's like if you go to the casino and you see the pikers on the slots. That's literally all it means. It's like a small stake gambler. It literally is just, it means, it doesn't, like, what do you mean he's a small stake gambler? What are you talking about? Leslie is dead. Thank you for the 5 tier ones.
Pete Buttigieg went on a podcast, an all-male podcast.
Is it also a slur?
With a largely male audience, and the first thing I noticed, and I thought it was just me because I pick up on these little things. I'm like, oh, he looks different. He had a beard, and then going into the podcast, he said a curse word, and I was like, what happened to Pete Buttigieg? They're trying to portray this manly image because they realize they lost a lot of young voters, specifically young men voters, and they're trying to bring them back by bringing manly back again. But I'm not sure this is how you do it.
Hey guys, just make sure to, hey guys, remember, Ethan was called a Zionist for calling himself a Zionist, and who could say what's more harmful overall?
I wasn't aware of that.
Who could say what's more harmful overall? Any day now.
Europeans and anti-Zionism are like, they're Adolf Hitler. And like Roma or travelers or whatever you call them were literally part of the genocides in the Holocaust. But Europeans are like, yeah, but they deserve it. Like, they are literally Adolf Hitler.
Now, sure, there will be think pieces written about it that will inevitably lead to the government changing their attitude and arresting people
like, I've
for being
never heard the word anti-Zionism. And it's like, wow, why do you think that is? Why do you think you've heard the word anti-Semitism a quadrillion times, but you've never heard the phrase anti-Zionism ever? Why do you think that is?
Oh, Israel. Is there a way to go back?
Not zygotism, Zionism. Anti-Romani sentiment, anti-Gypsyism, anti-Romanism, anti-Ziganism. I said Zionism, sorry. Ziganophobia, Romanophobia is an ideology which consists of hostility, prejudice, discrimination, racism, and xenophobia with specifically directed at Romani people.
Wait, we'll try to see if we can find the full rewind 8 minutes.
Thank you,
right
Leslie,
after
for that
break for your
birthday
segment. Oh, hell yeah. Thank you.
Advertise to grow your business today.
Thank you for finding this.
No, people are not advertising on Fox News.
Yes, he is.
Alex Palou looks to continue for
Nice, comrade.
How many times is like Asmongold talked about cancel culture and how people are trying to cancel him and how they're free speech defenders? Will they come to my defense? Will they actually come to my defense? Who knows?
No.
Harris Faulkner. And this is America's most
Diving headfirst into the manosphere to woo male voters ahead of 2028. But they'll have to compete with the digital bro world's new rising star, far-left activist Hassan Piker. The New York Times calls the viral streamer, quote, made for the manosphere, in their glowing profile detailing his good looks, fashion choices, and influence over Gen Z.
Fox News has to say he's hot, too. Every single one of Hassan's haters have to call him hot. Holy shit, dude. The ego that must... Oh, my God. How is he this humble? If I got 1% of the compliments that he was getting, like, Jesus.
The only thing they forgot to mention is his pro-Hamas radical anti-Semitic views. Watch.
October 7 was a retaliation for an ongoing apartheid. Doesn't matter if it happened on October 7. Like, that doesn't change the dynamic. Any kind of Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a...
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, respect. I mean, the doesn't matter. It doesn't change the dynamic for me. One is out of context, but they're doing the thing. They're doing the thing where they show actual...
Yeah, it's called journalism. You know, like, even though they're corrupt pieces of shit, they're actually, they're doing their best.
Full-blown quotes. YouTube Hasanabi, what the rabid neo-Nazi? You shouldn't even let someone be the local dog catcher as if they've ever exhibited positive feelings about the state of Israel.
And there's more where that came from.
Hell yeah,
but the
brother.
internet doesn't care. TikTokers can't get enough of him.
He's intelligent, he's tall. I think Hassan Piker is the picture perfect man.
He is just so fine. And the fact that he's politically smart as well.
Oh my God, they're showing all the women. Oh my God, I missed this.
Oh, no.
Very smart. He has very interesting, very creative ideas. He achieved a lot.
What the fuck? They're showing like a TikTok of somebody doing like an astrology? Like, what's happening?
He is not the kind of guy to tell you that he loves you. He is the kind of guy to show you with his actions.
Okay. He's got lawmakers wrapped around his finger, too. AOC and Bernie Sanders sat down on his YouTube show last month to
Lawmakers
talk about
wrapped around his
activist
fingers.
Mahmoud Khalil.
I wish I could get them. I wish I could get them to take action. I wish I had them wrapped around my fingies, you know? You run Congress now. Oh my God, bro. They're doing the thing. They're doing the thing. They're literally saying that you wish was the reality, where they're like, oh, he doesn't just control the media, he controls Congress now. Dude, it's pretty crazy to have Fox News coming out and behaving in this like insane manner.
The erosion of civil liberties is happening all around. I'm of course talking about Mahmoud Khalil.
It goes without saying that there is still profound money and interest that remains dedicated on both sides of the aisle in trying to marginalize and also.
Oh my God, we had some of my emotes popping up. They had our DSA FP.
Late criticism of Israel as anti-Semitism, right. And we have to be very aware of that.
There it is.
Lauren, that was March 20th, okay?
Yeah. 2
sitting members of Congress went on a podcast hosted by someone who said in November of last year, it doesn't matter if it happened on October 7th. And AOC right now is being talked about as the future of the.
Yeah, I mean, most people in the media understand what that quote is, by the way. Like, they do. And I've had people who are I've had people who I wouldn't even expect to be charitable to me reach out about that as well.
The Democratic Party.
Yeah, I know. And that female in the TikTok video said, he's the type of guy not to tell you that he loves you, but to show you that he loves you. And we just quoted him as saying, doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't listen to before or after. Guys, do you think this will cause Ethan's community to self-reflect? I don't think so.
No, they'll be like, wow, Fox News is so based now. We love Fox News. Fox News is so based. We call that the Destiny siphon. Catch anybody who's center left and send them right back into the arms of Nick Fuentes and Asmongold and Steve Bannon.
Of course not.
Happened on October 7th. And AOC, you're right, and Bernie Sanders sitting down with him. A Democrat from New York, Congressman Richie Torres, actually wrote a letter to the companies that host his podcast. And he said he's an apologist for October 7th, but also he's anti-American and an apologist for 9/11.
Dude. Think about Richie Torres, who's supposed to be a progressive. You're a YouTuber podcaster now. I mean, I do have a YouTube. I do have a podcast. You've covered more news in the clip they showed than they are. Oh my God, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
Coming from a New York Democrat, sitting member of Congress. So as this is now, if he's being hailed as the hero.
Guys, if only Hassan wasn't there, Fox News would be giving the left a good name. If only Hassan wasn't there, Fox News would be treating the left with good faith.
Democrats just looking to the things that are coming out of his own mouth and what other people in his party are saying about him.
You know, Conch, it's just so striking how people will just become so enamored with someone no matter what they say, no matter what they do.
Yeah, like Luigi Mangione, right? Who's raised more than $500,000 as a GoFundMe page. A guy who shot a father of 2 in the back about 5 blocks north of here in New York City. When I hear about this guy as a very popular podcast.
By the way, look at the fear in their eyes. God damn it, I love being a radical. Look at these look how they're legitimately frightened, baby. Like, look at the fear.
I don't doubt it, but he is appealing to a very far left part of the Democratic Party. A guy like Joe Rogan brings in people from all sorts of ideological stripes. Rogan.
Yeah, if I didn't actually bring in people from all different sorts of ideological stripes and actually actively change their minds and not become a funnel like Joe Rogan is for the he's a funnel for the Republican Party. I am not a funnel for the Democrats, no matter how much the far left radicals, the actual radicals in my community, keep saying I am. You literally went on Theo Vaughn. What are they talking about? I know. That's what it is. 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 It's like, hey, you're radicalizing people. And I'm radicalizing them away from what this is. Ironically enough, I am de-radicalizing people from being right-wing. And hopefully I am de-radicalizing people from being right-wing in the liberal fashion as well.
Was a Democrat for a very long time, once supported Bernie Sanders, and now he's bringing in all sorts of different people, 12 million people a day on his podcast. Look, this guy has said, to Lauren's point, he advocates for violence against Israelis, or at least says it's no big deal. He cheers on...
Thank you for the 10 spot.
All right. If we're just making stuff up, hey, respect. Cutie McBitty, thank you for the 50 gifted subs to a radical Antifa operative. Remember, that was the that was popping first Trump administration. Now what's popping is we went from radical Antifa to radical Islamist Hasanabi. Oh my God, we're gonna have someone in mainstream media call me Hasanabi by accident. Oh my God. Now that's defamation. Oh, whatever. No, you guys are crazy. No, dude. No, I am a public figure. You guys are delusional. Okay? Unless they say something so insane with actual malicious, provable malicious intent, which the editorial team of Fox News is not going to make that mistake. Okay? Even if I had him dead to rights with defamation, like I might have Ethan with his own acknowledgement, why is every one of my Amerifats in the audience literally constantly talking about litigation, bro? Oh my God, we do need tort reform in this country. Holy, I'm becoming a reactionary conservative. Unironically, what is this? Why are we the most litigious nation on the planet, dude? Every American goes, oh, my burger? Oh, my burger. This guy said something mean about you. Time to sue. Calm down, man. Holy this actually is something that I'm realizing. I feel like I'm not as litigious as the average. I'm not as litigious as the average American is, I think.
Islamic terrorist. He's a guy who says if you're pro-Israel, therefore you're a neo-Nazi. And what does the New York Times do?
I think that if you're a Zionist, then yeah, you believe in a ideology. Why does that offend you? Maybe you should, I don't know, re-examine that. Maybe you should think about that a little bit.
It writes a glowing puff piece on this guy. I mean, an AOC, to your point, Bernie Sanders as a Jew sits down with this person after that. That's unbelievable. And AOC, that's not surprising because she's...
Yeah, wow. That's unbelievable. Bernie Sanders as a Jew, how dare you sit down with someone who might disagree with you on the issue of Israel to a certain degree, but still understands the importance of building solidarity amongst the working class as one of the only games in town in terms of being able to translate working class messaging and agitative propaganda to a broad audience of Americans who are completely deluded to class politics. How could that happen? Wow. Dude, something that I always find very funny, and I've mentioned this before, is the proclivity of Christian Zionists to call out Jewish people in a way where they literally act like they are more Jewish than the Jewish person. It's like it almost, I guess, gives them permission to be hateful and anti-Semitic. I see WASPs doing all the time. What comes to mind immediately is Missouri's very own Josh Hawley telling a liberal Zionist from Next, an organization that literally is an organization that in and of itself is not particularly anti-Israel, okay? It literally is pro-Israel. It's a pro-Israel organization. Telling a liberal Zionist Jewish man wearing a IDF badge on his chest that he doesn't know what he's talking about dealing with anti-Semitism. He's like, how dare you, Jew, respond to me, a Christian man, about how I should be dealing with anti-Semitism. I will fight anti-Semitism better than you, Jew. Like, it's pretty nutty. American WASPs that are...
Article about Biden aide stopped attempts to give Biden cognitive tests. Biden aide stopped cognitive tests fearing campaign blowback. A new book by 3 top White House correspondents reveals the president handlers thought he'd pass.
Pro-Israel literally think they are the Pope of the Jews, okay? Not any Jewish person. Just they are the real arbiters of or designators of who is true to the faith and who isn't. Yeah, this was what I was talking
asked about an investigation for failing to protect Jewish students, and you said that's just weaponizing anti-Semitism. It makes students less safe.
It is when
I think that's crazy.
No. This is the guy. This is a different guy. This is the guy who actually wrote the IHRA definition, who is literally doing this congressional, which makes it even funnier, I guess. This is the guy who wrote the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, which ties it back to Israel. Okay, like criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic. Now, what's funny about this is that he regretted it because then people started using it for legislation. And he was like, hold on, don't do that, because that would mean, you know, a lot of like valid criticisms of Israel will be used as anti-Semitic, and people will go to jail for criticizing Israel. I didn't mean that. I did not mean that at all. Which ironically has been weaponized to no end in places where that definition has been adopted, like the Eurocuck nations. Okay? He was like, I just wrote this. I didn't think you were going to use it as legislation. Please don't do that. He spent the rest of his life after writing the definition trying to get people to not use it as a vehicle to punish people for free speech. That also is funny, though. It's funny that Josh Hawley is telling this guy who wrote the IHRA definition to not tell him. Didn't Ethan say something big was coming about you yesterday? He might have had something to do with this. No, dude. What? I know. I don't think he said that.
Personally, chat, I think Hassan is coping about the level of unhinged nature that Ethan Klein feels towards him. Like, I think Hassan is absolutely in cope mode where it's like, bro, Ethan Klein is trying to kill you, man. Like, it's a direct threat. Dan is his assistant. AB is his assistant. They have absolutely no intention of ever stepping forward to protect you. They mean ill will towards you. They want to hurt you. Like, the old friendship is dead. They hate you.
But I don't think he has any say in this.
I think it would be useful if somebody had kind of a compilation of all the times the crew attacked Hassan. That might be a useful piece of information to have. Like, I think it's very easy to be charitable toward the crew if you don't know what they're saying. I know what they're saying, which is why I am not charitable towards them, because they've been attacking us relentlessly for a year.
This is just because the New York Times wrote a profile on me. He did say that? No, it was probably Saltman who said it. He's the one who's like constantly agitating to try to get the Hasbro network. Fringe Games, thank you for the 100 gifted subs. Listen, all of this is happening not because I'm not because like Dan Saltman actively pushed for it. I'm sure he's trying. I'm sure he's trying to push for it to the best of his ability. The real reason, those were his clips, so someone had something to do with it. No, the real reason why this is happening is because it worked out. It worked out perfectly as far as all of the subsequent anti-Hassan media hits that are going to come out. There's still more to come for sure. Like, I know there's still, you gotta wait. New York Post already wrote one. Might write a second one. There's going to be, there's most likely going to be more from, there's going to be more coming out. Daily Wire, Daily Mail. I'm surprised they haven't written one yet. Daily Mail was like the first to come out and be like, Hassan wants baby settlers to, he said baby settlers need to be, but yeah. Oh, this is what I was referring to. Yeah. This is the actual one I was talking about.
Here on a student visa. If you're going to commit acts of violence against Jewish students, Jewish Americans, or foreign Jewish students, whomever, we're going to revoke your visa. I mean, you're going home.
So I think on that issue itself,
This is Kevin Racklin, okay? He works for a Zionist organization. And as a liberal Zionist who he still very much loves Israel, he has the dog tag on his chest. He is trying to explain to Josh Hawley that maybe they shouldn't deport people. Maybe they shouldn't deport people because that's a bridge too far and maybe a little too close to Nazi stuff. Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to think now. It's not, when you're talking about acts of violence and you're talking about actually breaking U.S. law towards students, that is criminal. That should be done through the Justice Department. When we're talking about deportation, that's immigration. So if there is a criminal investigation that leads to deportation, I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Well, I'm talking about student visas. They're here on visas. They're here on particular.
Doing that.
Well, sure, but why don't we write into the process a condition of the visa that if you assault a Jewish student on campus, you're out of here. You're gone.
Populist right wing, by the way. Zionist to the extreme. Populist right, by the way. Josh Hawley. Populist right wing, chat. Populist right wing.
Was written in the statute, and if it was broad enough to be not just be for Jews, but for all people that have experienced discrimination, regardless of who they are, I think that we should look at that. But I think until that is in law,
No. They don't want anti-discrimination, right? If you're a South African white guy and you come here and you start screaming the N-word, they don't want you deported, right? They only want people, they don't even really care if you are anti-Semitic. They just don't want you to criticize Israel's genocide.
Basing this on is what the current statute says and what currently is being done.
Well, listen, I guess I don't understand the hesitation here at all. To me, this is an easy call, and
he's like, shut up. I know better than you.
The current Secretary of State, Secretary Rubio, to do this. I think he's got the authority to do it. My position is it would send an incredibly clear message. If you come to this country on a student visa, you are here as a guest of the United States for particular purposes. If you assault a Jewish student on campus, you ought to be out of here. And we ought to make it clear to people we are not going to tolerate it. We're not going to tolerate it. For any reason. Can I just ask you why I have you here, Mr. Permit?
I mean, he ripped into way more, but
he's the same lawmaker who was against the Iron Dome that has saved countless lives in Israel. She didn't want that thing to continue. And if that didn't continue, we're talking about a much different situation in Israel right now.
You know, a guy.
I mean, to be fair, if the Iron Dome didn't exist, Israel probably would not be remotely as violent as it gets to be right now.
They would have to have diplomacy with their fucking neighbors. And they would have to treat the Palestinian people as human beings because they would be worried about actually getting into a conventional war. But because of the American provided Iron Dome, they have qualitative superiority over neighbors as far as cruise missiles and drone strikes and rocket attacks. So they're much able, but they have a strong air defense network, which allows them to go out there and act like a genocidal maniac because intervention is that much more difficult. And it's the United States of America that is providing that shield. So once we provide that shield, we become responsible for what it's used for.
It's just the truth. You know what I mean? Yeah. If they actually were to ever experience repercussions from their genocidal ambitions, like they would not do that. And this is perhaps best demonstrated by their retaliation towards Iran. Their retaliation towards Iran, which has the capacity to penetrate the Iron Dome, as they demonstrated, was infinitely more restrained than what they've done to the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip they belligerently occupy. As a matter of fact, they unironically kept punishing the Gazans, punishing the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip over and over again whenever they felt like they didn't, whenever they felt like they were getting attacked from anyone else. It is a weak country at the end of the day. It is a cowardly country at the end of the day that turns around and attacks people that they have made the most vulnerable.
And then this attempt to try to become the next Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is Joe Rogan because he's Joe Rogan. He's himself. He's authentic. And I think that's what's missing here when you look at all these Democrats who are trying to figure out how to be the next Joe Rogan, because you can't do that.
Yeah, and what Joe Concha just said is true. Joe Rogan is not some fire-breathing right-winger. He might seem that way in comparison to Hassan Piker, he's drifted maybe rightward because of the insanity of the left. Now, I thought the premise of this whole thing is that Hassan Piker is perfect for the manosphere and go get those male voters back. If that's what the Democrats want, a bunch of anti-Semitic Hamas supporters, that's one proposition. But all the clips we played of people...
Bro, wouldn't they say that the Democrats are already anti-Semitic Hamas supporters? I don't understand. In that sense, considering that 80% of the Democrats...
He's pointing out that all the fans were all young women. It's just the young women who love him.
Democrats' base of support already has an unfavorable view of Israel. And if
you go by the demographics, if you actually look at who watches us, it's males. You know, like, yeah, we have a lot more women in our audiences than the typical Twitch stream. Like, I have a lot more women in my audience than the average Twitch stream. But it's still male dominated because it's Twitch. And also, I mean, you know, we're a little bit loud and aggressive, which isn't exactly... It's very male socialized. Let's just put it that way.
Anyone has unfavorable opinions of Israel, they're a supporter and a terrorist, then I'm closer to the Democratic Party's base than any number of these different people are. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really make sense. So how do you look at the actual polling? I'm closer to the Republicans, especially under the age of 35, with my perspective on Israel than these guys are. I'm closer to Joe Rogan on my opinions on Israel than these guys are. These guys are still holding on to the old hat method of just being like, nope, unconditional support to Israel, please. How dare you? How dare you say anything else?
Swooning were, I noticed, women, right? Who seemed enamored of him for, I can't imagine why. They love how smart he is. I'm sure that's the number one reason. One more point from AOC saying, oh, there's all this money coming in to conflate criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism.
It's true. Israel is quite literally, Israel openly admitted that they are spending 10 times more money on Hasbara operations in the West this year to try and get ahead
rise up.
of all of the anti-Israel sentiment that they are seeing in the West. They are doing this. Why is it anti-Semitic to say what Israel has openly said? This is so stupid. It's only anti-Semitic if you say Israel is doing this for Jews, to protect Jews. Ironically, they are being anti-Semitic. Israel has to do Hasbara operations to whitewash their genocide in an effort to protect the Jews is an anti-Semitic statement. But we finally arrived at Fox News also talking about how hot I am.
I am sorry. After October 7th, this is not about criticism of Israel or the Israeli government. The people that we're talking about, like Mahmoud Khalil and Hassan Piker, they chant elimination.
Dude, Mahmoud Khalil, come on. That's crazy. Like, he is a hero, brother. That is crazy. To make this comparison, I am not worthy, okay? I am not worthy of this comparison. That's insane. Dude, no. Until I also go to jail, you know, I don't think that a comparison with myself and someone like Mahmoud Khalil is apt.
Genocidal slogans about the Jewish state. They talk about intifada glowingly. They support Hamas, a genocidal terrorist group with American blood on their hands.
Israel has American blood on its hands. They just killed multiple Americans.
Is a fallacy to pretend, oh, we can't criticize the government of Israel. That is not the issue here. These people know that. They just lie constantly.
Yeah. When have you criticized the government of Israel? Criticize it now, you fucking rat.
At least the nickname fits. Piker. Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
Piker, this guy.
Old ass.
So, you know, Lauren, I feel like there's been almost a theme here throughout these last hour and a half, and is that the Democrats are still trying to find a direction. They're still trying to find someone. And it's just so surprising, some of the people who are floating to the top.
Did you see, maybe a month ago, Pete Buttigieg went on a podcast, an all-male podcast with a largely...
Yeah, the Trump Department of Justice is an anti-Semite task force, and they're looking for blood. For E to say being called a Zionist was worse is crazy. No, I'm sure he will definitely come to my defense if that does end up happening.
Audience. And the first thing I noticed, and I thought it was just me because I pick up on these little things. I'm like, oh, he looks different. He had a beard. And then going into the podcast, he said a curse word. And I was like, what happened to Pete Buttigieg? They're trying to portray this manly image because they realize they lost a lot of young voters, specifically young men voters, and they're trying to bring them back by bringing manly back again. But I'm not sure this is how you do it.
It's contrived. It's so contrived.
I will say the Big Weekend Show
manly.
did reach out to Hassan Piker for a comment, and he has not yet responded.
The Pope Mobile of Peace, Pope Francis is giving his Pope Mobile to turn it into a health clinic for the children of Gaza. He giving away the Pope Mobile? Pope Francis requests his Pope Mobile be turned into a health clinic for the children of Gaza. Just being normal is
Wait,
so
what?
odd
No, they
for a
didn't.
religious leader in our world today.
Hey, yo, what the hell? I don't know why they said that. But yeah, look, Hosborough Op is fully in action. More question, you support Hassan Piker's response, I don't support the state of Israel and I don't support the United States of America. Literally doesn't matter. He can prep with whoever he wants. He can prep with Benny Morris if he wants. There is no what you support, question mark. No, I don't. I don't support the state of Israel and I don't support the state of the United States of America. He has multiple posts like Richie Torres did. Yeah. When you see the common chirpers getting agitated, know that like information is passed around. You know what I mean? Like they got their notes, they got their marching orders. The more you are hated, the more your messages spread. Yeah. Not one clip of you gaming on their piece. Oh God. Is this actually dangerous for your livelihood? Like, is it possible this reporting could land you in jail? Who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, it's on the table without a doubt. All right, chat. I wanted to talk about this other issue. There's so many things I didn't get to today, which is good. We have good content for tomorrow. We still have a lot of good content for tomorrow, but I did want to quickly touch on this. I'll probably touch on it more tomorrow, but the Australian election.
Australia has made its choice and returned Labor to power for a second term, leaving the coalition languishing and without a leader after Peter Dutton lost his seat. Anthony Albanese and Labor managed to pull off a stunning comeback after early polls suggested the government would struggle to hold on to power early in the 5-week campaign. He becomes the first leader to clinch a second consecutive term in 21 years and does so with an increased majority. In an election fought on the cost of living, Labor put healthcare at the heart of its platform. The Prime Minister says Australians have chosen optimism and determination in a time of global uncertainty.
Australians have chosen to face global challenges the Australian way, looking after each other while building for the future. And to serve these values, meet these challenges, seize these opportunities and build that better and stronger future, Australians have chosen a majority Labor government.
The mood at Liberal Party headquarters was subdued as the result came in. Peter Dutton lost his seat to Labor after 24 years and the coalition's primary vote slumped to record lows. Mr Dutton has conceded the coalition's campaign fell short.
We didn't do well enough during this campaign. That much is obvious tonight, and I accept full responsibility for that. There are good members, good candidates who have lost their seats or their ambition, and I'm sorry for that. We have an amazing party and we'll rebuild.
With just over 70% of the vote counted, Labor is projected to win 85 seats. The Liberal National Party holds on to 36. The Greens face a nervous wait, with several seats still in doubt, while Teal Independents have largely held on in their electorates. Political reporter Isabel Rowe joins us now from Parliament House in Canberra. Isabel, take us.
How is Labor in Australia? I haven't paid much attention to this cycle with everything that's going on. I know Albo used to be considered kind of like more on the center left. I thought he was also Israeli skeptic, but he's been cowardly, right? He's been cowardly during the genocide, hasn't he? And he's kind of done this like more right-wing shift. He's been kind of shitty, like disappointing.
Through the big picture, a landslide for the Labor Party and for Prime Minister Anthony Albanese.
An extraordinary night, Dan. Certainly not anything that we were expecting, that pollsters predicted, certainly not what Labor was expecting. They have extended their majority. They're predicted to win, as you saw just before, 85 seats.
Will never happen.
The Liberal Nationals predicted to win 36 seats. So not just an extraordinary result for Labor, but truly a wipeout for the coalition. There's a 3 or just more than a 3% swing nationally towards the Labor Party.
The ALP is better than the U.S. Democrats, but it's still neoliberal coded. Like, housing is a huge issue, but all of AFLP's policies are demand side. Oh my God, dude. I swear to fucking God, with these goddamn, like, neoliberal extremists, it's so crazy. It's so fucking crazy. Build a couple 100,000 social housing units and fix your fucking entire system. You can't be heterodox a little bit. Just build a couple 100,000 units in all the big Australian cities and your approval rating will be 90%. You can't do that. You can't do that little bit. Like, they're so stupid.
Historic win. It's one of Labor's biggest wins. As you said, it's the first time in many years that a Prime Minister in the Labor Party has been returned for a second term. And it's historic because there was all signs pointing towards a Liberal coalition win earlier on in this year. In January, the polls...
Australia, the Conservatives are called Liberals because that's what they are ideologically. And Labor is called Labor because they are a center-left party that grew out of the trade union movement. And then they have nationalists. So they have they have what they call the coalition, which is the right wing. In Australia, they have the Liberals and they have the nationalists. And so they form the Liberal Nationalist Coalition. And then they have, you know, and then they have Green parties and then third party and independent people, right? Greens usually win a few seats. Independents are usually like, they're like your weird heterodox candidates that are usually left leaning.
All pointing towards the Liberal Party. And so this campaign, you have seen the Labor Party turn it around and not only hold their slim majority, but increase it by an extraordinary amount. The other amazing story of the night, of course,
is it possible? Probably. I mean, yes, but no. Yes, it's possible. Is it going? How much would it cost? Way more than it would be. It wouldn't be worth it. Not that it's impossible. It's just not worth it.
Is that the opposition leader Peter Dutton lost his own seat. That was a very marginal seat, the seat of Dixon in Brisbane. He now is out of a job. The Liberal Party will need to find themselves a new leader.
And you touch on that, on the opposition leader there. We're seeing some of those images, Isabel, from last night. So what does this mean for the Liberal leadership? I'm sure that there will be jostling about who becomes the leader, but also for the broader policy agenda of Liberal. This is the second election that they've lost.
Look, it is a real low moment for the coalition. There is no doubt about that. And we had people, you know, from the party talking about that on air last night. Ailey France, who is the Labor candidate in the seat of Dixon, she looks likely to win that seat. It was a small margin, but there has been an 8.3% swing towards her. So there was an extraordinary campaign in that seat from Labor to unseat Peter Dutton. And they have been successful. It's the third time that she has campaigned in that seat. Peter Dutton, of course, loses his job, and there is now a search for a new leader. The Deputy Leader, Susan Lee, remains in her seat. The Shadow Defence Minister, Andrew Hastie, also a potential leadership option. He's kept his seat. But there's been some potential future leaders that have lost their seats. Keith Wallahan, the Liberal member in Menzies, has lost his seat. There has been an overall gutting of Liberal MPs who potentially could have taken on that job, maybe not in this term, but in the future. So the Liberal Party will need to go back to the drawing board and have a look at its policies, its positions, and find itself someone to take them forward.
And I understand that Keith Wallahan, seen, well, as a future leader potentially, a moderate there. We'll be speaking with our colleague David Spears on Insiders in a couple of hours' time. Isabel, what about the Parliament more broadly? What can you tell us as counting is continuing about what the next Parliament will look like?
Well, as we say, you know, we were having all these discussions about, you know, who Labor would form minority government with. Would they have to do a deal with the Greens in the lower house? That is all ancient history. Labor has a clear majority in the lower house. There is a weaker opposition, but what there also is this consistent turn away from the major parties. We've seen all of the independents, the Teals as some call them, hold their seats. We might see even more independents elected. The other story of the night, interestingly, has been quite a bad result for the Greens. Of the 4 seats that they held in the lower house, they have lost 2, and the other 2 are still unsure, and that includes the leader, Adam Bandt himself. So an interesting story there for the Greens. They also will be looking at what has gone wrong there, while their vote nationally has actually increased.
What happened is people voted Labor. They bandwagon. This is something that people don't understand about politics, which is like people like voting for a winner. And if the person is close enough to them, even if it's not the person that they're closest to ideologically, they'll oftentimes bandwagon a winner. There's like this satisficing that happens with voters where like people get a psychological dopamine hit for voting for a winner. So let's say that there's 2 candidates and one is very likely to win and the other is a 50-50 shot, and the 50-50 shot has my views identical, but the like much more likely to win person has like 80% of my views. People will vote for the 80% guy because they want to be a winner. Like literally. So like the bandwagon effect is real.
Some of their members obviously have not resonated with the electorate and have lost their seats. So an extraordinary result and a very different looking parliament, I would say, going into this next term.
All right, we'll talk more about Australian politics tomorrow, chat. I have a lot I got to get done. So thank you everybody for hanging out with me today for the Bodish stream, the bonus Sunday stream. You guys are the best. Solidarity forever, my friends. Let's see. Who are we gonna send you to? Who should we raid? Why don't we just go to the mothership, huh? Let's just go to the mothership. I'm probably gonna watch it anyway, so while I do some cleaning around the house. All right, everybody, stay safe out there. Solidarity forever. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. When you speak to police, thank you guys for all the gift subs and presents for my birthday weekend. I really do appreciate you. Thank you, 3 Bakes. You need to tell Hassan about the lore behind the Ethan music video. I tried. I did. I think I did yesterday. Anyway, stay safe out there. Solidarity forever, my friends. Free Palestine. And of course, socialism will win. I will see you all tomorrow. Normal time, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. And we'll cover more Australia politics. We've got other really exciting content for tomorrow that we didn't get to today. So make sure you're here. Hit that follow button. We are the place for politics streaming early in the morning here on the Central Committee. I'll see you all soon. Peace out.